discussed yesterday. Kindly drop your what your takeaway of yesterday and the things you promised that you're going to do. If you wanted to say something on the section, just let them what you learned from yesterday's program, and that you also like to, spread the message of volunteering out there. So we'll give you some seconds to do that. So while you're doing that, I would like to bring to our attention that kindly mute your mic, except you're asked to speak or you have something to say. And then before you say something, kindly raise your hands up with the emoji there, and or drop a message and find out that you want to say. Please, if you are speaking, enjoy the environment of our record, because we like to share it more later on for you to listen on the broadcast. Thank you so much for that. And we'll be going on straight to, welcoming our physical participants, and then also welcoming our speakers for today. So I want to say thank you to our participants that are here with us in person. Thank you for making it possible to be here. And we know that this is something that you're so much passionate about, and that is why you've left every other thing you have, at home, at work, everything to be here. Thank you so much. So I will want to say thank you to our participants also that are here. I mean, to our speakers that are here to speak. And thank you so much for making yourselves available to speak to our participants. And me as well, because I'm also here to learn. Not just you guys alone, I'm also here to learn. And we'll be introducing our first speaker who will be taking us on okay, so we'll be introducing Mr. Oladimeji Rahim. He is a sustainable development expert and an international grant writer with over 10 years of experience working within the United Nations system and national governance structures. He has served with UNFPA Nigeria as Program Support Officer under the Spotlight Initiative, advancing institutional and collective responses, and with UNICEF Nigeria as Youth Engagement and Partnerships, experts for the Generation Unlimited Gen U initiative, where he led youth engagement and partnerships at scale. A former member of the Lagos State Youth Parliament, Oladimeji continues to work as an independent consultant, supporting government, development partners, and youth networks on sustainable development. Thank you so much for being here. Please, let's give him a round of applause with our emoji online, please. And to our budget. Thank you. We have it here.
All right, okay, thanks. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our virtual participants. Thank you so much for joining us. For our participants who are here physically also, good morning. It's so nice to be here. And, sometimes that's something about volunteerism. Yes, in volunteering, we have these popular, saying that say many are popular actually too. It has to do with passion, it has to do with motivations, it has to do with, call for values to change narratives in your community. And not everyone, has that passion. Passion to be what you are currently doing, to be able to attend to events, to be able to solve social issues, to be able to relate with other people within your community, regardless of what you are currently doing. And sincerely, I want to sincerely appreciate you for joining this one. Please, can you give yourself a resounding round of applause for joining? You can also back your please, you can use your emoji also. You can use your emoji. So thank you so much. And I also want to appreciate the organizers of today's event because the best way we can learn, because sometimes we believe that volunteerism is free and it's social services. We do this for free. And one of the major issues that we have as volunteers is connecting, getting the right opportunity, getting the motivation, either by through opportunity, through resources. And the best way we can get those motivation, the best way we can get those resources is when we come together as volunteers, share our ideas with our network, share what we are currently doing. What am I doing that is actually giving me a, forget about the profile that was read. Not all volunteers will have opportunity to say they want to work with the United Nations. Not all of them will say, oh, I have someone who has been volunteering for over 20 years and he hasn't even gotten any opportunity. He has written a lot of SOPs, submitting for different organizations, different opportunities, scheduling around us and the likes. And sincerely, nothing is actually coming out from them. But what I was asked to speak on today was to look at how we tell our stories. And the topic is also social media storytelling for volunteer impact. And I think this topic is one of the pointer of visibility for every volunteer. Because if you are in a small community and you're doing something great and the global world is not seeing what you're doing, it may be very difficult for people to identify what you're doing. So how do you tell your story? And that is one of the major things we are also discussing at the global level. Because local action is the one that begs the global action. Because if there is no local action, we can't have global action. Because if there is no issues to solve at our locality, there is nothing like SDGs. It's because they believe that there are issues that we need to solve at the local level. And that's why we are talking about the sustainable development. And how do we now tell that story? To be able to raise impact, raise resources, let people see what we are doing. And if truly we are achieving the sustainable development that we're currently doing. And I was thinking we're going to have a lot of participants because I want to make it more interactive. And I just want some of our participants, either virtual, is willing to share or physical, to share what you are currently doing. So if you want to share, please just introduce yourself and tell me what you are currently doing. And in one word, you can tell us one of your greatest impact as a volunteer over the years that you have been working as a volunteer. So please, you can raise your hands. Physical participants also be willing to share. Anyone? You want to share, right? Okay. So let's have the name. Okay, we go into that matchup.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gloria Abisola, and I have been volunteering. But beyond volunteering, one of my major skills, or one of the major impact I am learning, is reaching out to young teenagers, talking to them about social health and hygiene. This is my way of giving back to the community. And beyond just talking to these young teenagers, one of the other things I do by the side, WhatsApp platform, sharing my experiences and encourage others to volunteer about. Thank you.
Okay. So what's your greatest impact?
My greatest impact, I don't think I quantified anything to say there is a greatest impact. I just feel like everything I'm doing has impact. Even things that I might not regard as impactful in the way of something.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Please let's appreciate that, please. Thank you so much for having the courage to say. You want to change. All right, good. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Abami Mao. So currently, I'm working with an initiative called the Rural Balance Initiative. So we are currently on the mostly the initiative is based on the boy child. Reason why the Black initiative was based on the boy child because we don't have a lot of NGOs that are actually based on the boy child. So recently during the time holiday, so we bring out some boys out to teach them some skills about guitar courses and other courses also. Of recently, we partnered with Canon Central Africa to teach the children how to, on photography and other skills also, which they are certificate from Central Africa. So our next project for next year is Boys Child Conference, which will be happening at the BC Conference on the Highland. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, let's appreciate it, please. Let's appreciate it. Virtual participants, do you want to also share? I actually love to hear from people virtually, right? You know, I'm not seeing you physically, but I want to know what you do as volunteers and how much you are to telling the story. So thank you so much. You've shared with us, you know, some of the things you do with Boy Child, and she also shared, you know, around training young adolescents about mental health, sexual and reproductive health and rights for adolescents. And thank you so much. Virtual participants, do you also want to share? I know some of them may be on the road. Just say something. Are they willing to share? You can also use the chat box if you want to use the chat box. You can drop your message during the course of this lecture if you have any questions. So for me, I just want to quickly share because. Okay, over to you. You can go ahead.
Do you want to say something?
Take it down, I'm feeling this. All right. Okay, good. So I just want to share because sometimes organizations do great things, and as volunteers, our story is not targeted towards, you know, the current situation of issues we're trying to solve. Rather, it's always targeted towards our own personality, and that's a great mistake. An example of such will be, okay, so I went to Marco to meet young boys. Let me just use that as an example, you know, changing their narratives about life, changing their narratives about, you know, their dreams, that you can become a doctor. And I took a picture and I go to my social media and I just said, on 25th of November, I was in Marco to meet 25 boys. It was a great experience, simple. And we press send, put it on our LinkedIn, put it on our IG, put it on our Facebook. As a normal person, you know, as a resource person, what you have shown me just to say that you just went on a trip. You just went on a visit. You haven't shown me that there is actually a problem in that community. And after you got to that community, you discover the problem, what are the actions taken and what are the impacts. So you just post a picture and say, oh, I was in Marco, look at the boys, there are 25 boys, it was a great experience, and that's all. And what we post sometimes is the reflection of our statements of purpose sometimes when we are, you know, writing an essay, maybe for an opportunity. Because you could not express yourself virtually, it will also be very difficult to know how to express yourself in paper. So sometimes as volunteers, we believe that in every I don't want us to think like a politician, and because we know that sometimes their developments are more political than developments. Your call, you're laughing, yes, am I right? Yes, they just want to do things and they want to go away, you know. But you as volunteers walking around making the world sustainable for all, you should be able to do things that is more sustainable and impactful. And how do you identify a very good story? I'm going to just try and, if possible, to articulate it into 3 words, because I know that our virtual participants want to have questions, our physical participants we also want to have, and because of time, I also quickly want to rush this. Those 3 things are very important when you're writing your story. That helps you to guide the story you want to write. And we're going to be giving an example moving forward. The first one is the problem. Just write the problem. When you're writing a story, before you can stand up to say you want to tell a story, you've identified a problem. Because from stories, people learn from it. You want to share your experience. You want to share your exposure. You want to share your education with people. So it simply means that you've identified a problem. So what means a problem? So I will state those 3, then we'll identify a problem, then we'll use it to write a story. So the problem, that's the first one. The second one is the action. The second one is the action. What the volunteer did. What was the actions that they took? You know, we've identified what is the action that you took. And the last one is the impact. What's changed because of that action? So I didn't just go to Marco. I went to Marco because there is actually a problem of lack of education. Or because I've identified that students from Marco, 50% or 60% of them had F9 in mathematics. Right? That is actually a problem. So I went into a Marco, right, to say that I want to volunteer myself to teach mathematics. And I engaged 50 young boys to enroll them for an evening mathematics class, right? And after I engaged them and I enrolled them for about 2 months or 3 months, because you mentioned the duration. The last wire, out of the 50%, 49% of them had CBA1 in mathematics. That is the impact, right? So I've actually stated a problem, the action taken, and the impact at the end of the day. So these 3 things help you to guide your story. And we're going to be talking about them. So do you want to identify any problem? For example, you teach young girls about menstrual hygiene. So you teach young girls about menstrual hygiene, which is relating to sexual and reproductive health and rights. Why do you think young girls need information about menstrual hygiene? And another thing I also want to share is that when you are identifying a problem, you must identify a problem with a location. Don't generalize a problem. One of the things I loved when he came, on board to talk about the boys out that is currently working. He mentioned, a particular location they are currently working in. So that means they've identified, a problem in that location. So what makes up the problem statement when you're writing a story? So we're going to talk about it. I use Marco as an example because that's the popular, that's the oil of development system in Lagos, right? I was in Marco there. I went to see Marco trains. We have a school, so you go and do documentary, showing those kids, water, so that you can play to the international world. That is fine. So I went into Marco because I see that there are 80% of those young people are out of school. So don't say that, I was in Lagos in 25th. Where in Lagos? There are so many places in Lagos. So when you're writing your story, you're going to write a story to say, out of over 20 million young people in Lagos State, 52% of them live in Makoko area. Makoko is a very long area, comprises of 90% of their population who are out of school. Look at that story. Even from the introduction, you reading the introduction, you fell in love with the introduction.
Because I've informed you that there is a state called Lagos. And this is a total number of population of young people in that state. In that state, there is a particular place called Makoko. And that Makoko takes about 50-something% of that population. I'm trying to tell viewer, I'm trying to tell donor agency, I'm trying to tell people that there are a lot of untapped resources in that location because it makes up a huge amount of population, percentage of that population of the states. Then what happened to those population? Yes, you said they make up, yes, they are young people, yes. So what happened to it? Out of those population, over 50% of them are out of school. So you're trying to tell me that there is no how we want to achieve a sustainable development if you have about 50% of young people living in Makoko who are out of school. Automatically, we are not achieving the sustainable development, especially for education. You can see that story. So I'm not just saying that, research shows that there is a problem in Makoko and there are a lot of out of school children in Makoko. So I went to Makoko to train them about this. And after training them, we left. No, they are not saying that. So we are telling our story. And if you look at my statement, even when you write it down, it's not even up to about 5 lines. So I'm not writing a story. I'm trying as much as possible to write the world that people need, that people want to just get the fact and leave. So I've stated, the problem, I've mentioned the location, and I've also mentioned the issues and the current situation of that place. And I've also informed them, gender disaggregation to say that their boys' child are out of school. I'm not even talking about the boys. You can generalize it in terms of, gender. But because of the areas which I'm using you as an example, say the boys' child. Every nation wants a workforce of active citizens who are male child who can work in the industry. And if those workforce does not have the right knowledge, automatically we are dealing with a situation whereby we develop more people who are jobless and not achieving what we call the demographic degree. So for me, as a donor person, as a donor agency, as someone who follow you on social media, I already know the areas that you work in. You work with boys' child, the areas of education, and what you are currently doing, you are solving social issues. You're trying to make our future better for all. That's the first thing. And that's why I mentioned the first one is what? The problem. And what are the actions? And when sometimes as a volunteer, when you're writing your story on social media, we spend more time on introduction than the main issue. We want to, for example, you are working on menstrual hygiene and you said, oh, okay, so you are in Alimosho local government to train girls about how to do pap locally, right? How to make pap locally. And the first thing you say was that, oh, menstrual hygiene is so. You explain menstrual hygiene. You are taking us through what is happening in Ukraine. You are taking us through, just your introduction alone is taking a lot of time. And that's also taking a lot of, paragraph in terms of what you want to post. So when I click on your story, I need to click next like 3 times before I read, get to know what you're doing. And that's one of the issues. So I have a friend, we all know that friend, K-Factor, Cowdy. And when we started, what Cowdy usually, Cowdy can write story, right? No, Cowdy can write story. I gave it to him. And when Cowdy writes story, the story will be long, right? Before you travel, the story will be long. And he will tell you some of the, he has had about 50, rejection, and it's going to list those rejections with the ideas, and you keep, because you love the introduction, you want to know, but you get tired sometimes, right? Because you just want to quickly feel and what is really going on. But if you observe Cowdy right now, Cowdy's story is very, very summarized. And that's what experience and exposure, teaching you. You tend to learn from it. So when you write a story, when your introduction is like taking like 2 next before I know what you're doing. As a person, I don't know. I write books, yes, I love reading, but when I read a story that even season films sometimes you get out of it because you don't know the ending. So you need to write, your story must be very, very, summarized and that's why if you look at the problem I shared, it's just 3 to 4 lines. I've explained what the problem was and what is the action. So what we did was, after I discovered that there are a lot of out of school children in Magogo, I called my community of volunteers to do a 3-month intervention of introducing an evening classes to teach them about mathematics. So when you're writing your action, you are not saying that, oh, we created a graphic to call for support, to call volunteers to be part of the initiative of the, of the evening classes we want to introduce. Or no, nobody. We don't need to get all those stories. Just say that you mobilize group of volunteers. You can mention their number. You mobilize group of 30 volunteers to implement an evening classes for young boys in Mahu. You must also tell us the duration of those, and that's why I mentioned 3 months. I did not say that, oh, the first week we're talking about algebra, the second week we spoke about quadratic equation, the third week we talked about all those things. No, nobody wants to hear that. We just want to listen to your action. I want to see your action. Inform us about the problem. So what are the actions? We mobilize group of volunteers. And those 30 group of volunteers introduce 3-month intensive evening classes, free intensive evening classes for young boys in Magogo. That's the action. The action alone, even when you are posting on social media, let your picture speak for you. Don't let your writers, sometimes you write and people miss your words. And as volunteers, we also want to show that we sabi speak English. We now copy it and put it on ChatGPT. Yeah, please help me rephrase, and ChatGPT will start giving you this. Even someone who is reading will get tired to say, oh, I can't pronounce this, let me jump it. Next. So when you post your problem, just 1 paragraph, the action in 1 paragraph, and what is the impact? And sometimes we do not measure impacts immediately. And please don't lie in your story. As someone who has worked with you, we do it. Sometimes when we are writing our reports, after we implement some of this very brilliant activity, we know that the impact is not going to happen immediately. It's continuous, it should be spontaneous, it should be simultaneous, right? So if you're writing your impact, you can say that it is expected that in the next WAEC examination, over 40% of those young people should have B and A's in their mathematics. Yes, it's fine. Don't lie to us when they have not done their WAEC. Don't say that, oh, because you don't know. You can come back and tell us the impact. But because you want your story to be concluded after your action, give us a futuristic impact you are following up. You can tell us just tell us and tell us, oh, it is expected that 40% of those young people, based on the mock exam that you did for them, should be able to have B's and A's in their mathematics examination. And after you achieve that, you can now come back, refer to your story. Refer to your story. Come and share, the success story. Come and share the success story by telling us that, oh, from this intervention, this, and this is what you have been able to achieve. Very simple. So please, when you're writing your story, base your story on the problem. What are the actions that you're taking an impact? And please don't lie on it. Don't lie on the impact. Just tell us what you feel That will happen at the end of the day. Another example is you want to train young girls, give them knowledge about sexual and reproductive health and rights for young people. And you discover that majority of these young girls does not have knowledge about menstrual hygiene. And that's why, not necessarily the menstrual hygiene, basic sexual education, right? Comprehensive sexuality education. We call it CSE, right? They don't have that knowledge, and that's why we have a lot of young girls with unwanted pregnancy. We have a lot of them, they're out of school, they are survivors of SGBV, and they do not have basic knowledge about their health. They can't make informed decisions. And you want to have like an intervention in the local government, like Alimosho. You must tell us why you're choosing Alimosho. An example is to tell us that currently in Lagos, Alimosho is the largest local government in Lagos State, comprises of young girls between the age of this, and that. It is story. So let your story be relatable. Don't just tell us, oh, in Alimosho, you train 20 young people, yes, 20 young people on menstrual hygiene, without telling us why did you choose Alimosho? Why Alimosho? Your story will be complete if you actually explain and tell us the terrain of that thing happened. Oh, I was in a prayer today to engage 50 young girls about menstrual hygiene for them to make informed decisions about their life. Just tell us. Where coming to Lagos, Ekpe is actually located in a very rural setting local government, comprises of young girls who are maybe what they do is fishing, right? Because we know that Ekpe people are known for fishing. So you must tell us, and that's what makes your story relatable online. That is what makes your story likable online. That is what makes your story shareable online. That is what makes your story lovable. Because people don't just want to share or like your picture. People don't have time. They just want to see the picture, but if it is not interesting, they go to the next person. Oh, I can see Mr. Macaroni. I would rather watch Mr. Macaroni than reading an episode that is not giving me the information. And that is all right. So let me quickly go to, if you have a question, you can ask your questions because of time. So let me quickly go to imaging, right? I've shared with you, if you want to write your story, there are 3 things I've shared. The first one is what? The problem, the action, the impact. And I've explained, how to write. So let me go to imaging. So you see, sometimes, I know it's sometimes very difficult when you are volunteering for an organization. If you don't have someone that can go with you to take a picture, sometimes you may not have the right picture. There are pictures that we call iconic. And these are pictures that get the attention of people. I've seen over times where I will also use my friend as an example. In fact, sometimes when K Factor writes, K Factor would not use a picture on site. He would rather post his personal picture. Do you observe that? He posts his personal picture, either he's smiling, or he's standing, or he's posting, or he's having an handshake with someone. And he might be talking about what his organization is currently doing on the site. It's a strategy. You see, sometimes what people see, frequently continues to live with them. If you do not see K Factor posts for about 2 months, there will be like a sensor that will tell you that, oh, I've not seen this guy post. But when K Factor posts once, you want to read and listen to, read and look at what he has posted. The strategy is, I'm not here today, but I'm here now. If I do not see pictures that depict what I'm trying to explain, post your personal picture. And post your personal picture. You may not necessarily be in action, but post your personal. You are not, your story is not about you, but it's about what you are doing. But you are linking yourself to what you posted. And that's a strategy. As a volunteer, we need to put that down. They are strategy in doing it. A friend walk up to me and say, "Oh, maybe I'm doing a lot, and these girls that they are not even doing anything in your state, they are getting recognition. People are inviting them, they are getting funding." I said, "Yes, it's because they know the strategy. A lot of us are doing a job, but we are not telling our story." An example of such is what I just shared, the way we put our story. And if you want to snap pictures that shows what you are currently doing on the ground, please snap a picture in action while those young people are actually doing what you're asking them to do. You may not even be in the action. Because I've seen volunteers where they want to be in action with those young people. And she's into cinematography, photography. Sometimes there are people when you don't post. And you end up posting a picture that you are not supposed to post. You might not know, but people who are reading your story who have vast knowledge about images will have this is not right. Right? You can post the picture of those young people after getting their consent. You need to get their consent. You need to say, "Oh, we are going to post a picture." As you're teaching them, you see a young person, writing, and you take the picture. "Oh, I'm going to post a picture." That's fine. Yes, it's fine. You can post the picture. Get their consent. And if you don't have, picture to post your personal picture. While you're putting on a suit. Don't tell us a story about you being in Makoko, teaching young people, and you are posting a picture while you are in KFC. No, you're not. No, I'm just speaking. That's what we do sometimes. So because we have a timetable of posting, when we started this social work, some of us have a timetable of posting. Oh, every Saturday night, I want to post and this, and we keep looking for pictures. Some of us talks about education, and we end up posting picture that we snap in the beach. If you are talking about climate change, and you post a picture that you're on the beach, it's related. Right? Am I speaking your mind? Yes, it's relatable. Because you're talking about climate change, you're talking about plastic recycling, you're talking about ocean salt, and you're posting a picture in the beach. Is relatable. Even if I read the first 10 paragraphs and I see the picture, I know the message you're trying to pass. So that is relatable. So those are the learnings that we need to, have as the volunteers to be able, to relate our story and make ourselves visible to the world. And I'm just going to digress a bit. Now, I've spoken about storytelling, social media, what are the themes, what are the things. But I want to, switch a bit to do writing and SOP, right, as a volunteer. Because some of us do a lot of stuff, but we don't know how to document it. We don't know how to document it. And that's why you apply for Mandela Washington, they give you the red flag. And you'll be wondering, and you see a girl, something like that. She's not even paying up to what I'm doing. It's because you do not know how to document your story. And how do you document your story? You document your story by making sure that your story comprises of facts and the recent situation of things. If you are applying for Mandela Washington, your areas of focus, even if you are working on education, you know what is happening globally now. What is happening globally now is insecurity and peace. You must relate your story to how what you are doing is resolving issues around peace and security. So if you're working with young girls and the knowledge, your intervention is focusing on menstrual hygiene, You can tell us what leads to young people not having access to good quality menstrual, facility, just because there are issues around war. After war, what happened? People being displaced, young people get abused. Some of them will not be able to make informed decision about their life. So what we have done is preparing people for the future because of the global crisis. We train also young people about menstrual hygiene and how they can take care of themselves during emergency or emergency. I've put issues around peace in something around health. If you're working with young boys, and there is violence around among young people now, particularly for girls, for boys, you can tell us that research shows that young people who join either war conflicts or young people who join bandits and these are young boys, just because they do not have the right knowledge about some have adequate skills to be able to make informed decisions. So they know them to be able to join some group they are not supposed to join. You're passing education or you're resolving issues. If you're walking around sexual and reproductive health and rights for them, I do not expect you to right now, nobody. I'm from other countries. Do not expect, maybe I should drop back. I do not expect you to talk more with gender. Because anything that has to do with gender now, just because of the current government. But if you are applying for Paramount, for example, you're applying for another scholarship, then that their intervention is treated around, for example, the European Union. If you're writing an SOP form, you can talk about gender. Because currently, what they are currently doing is putting more money on issues around gender, particularly focusing on young girls. You can talk about that. So everything we do as sometimes we are out of context. That's why we don't get it right. When in 2015, when I was in Nairobi, when I was sent to Nairobi by United Nations to learn about what we call demographic dividends. Demographic dividends, do we know what demographic dividend is? Achieving demographic dividends is when the working population is more than the ones that are not working. So that means we are achieving demographic dividend. But currently in our population, the ratio between employed and unemployed, or the unemployed is higher than the employed. And that's why we are not harnessing demographic dividend. And in that demographic dividend, some of the things that they are sharing is that for government to achieve demographic dividend, there are 4 key areas that must focus on: education, employment, empowerment, and capacity building for young people. So those are the 4 things that must focus on. They now relate it to health, to say that in a family of 4, if you manage your family to be able to manage it based on the income that you have, for example, if you have 3 kids and you're working, it's going to be more sustainable for someone who has 7 kids. So just balancing the population ratio. So when we make sense to narrow to 6 minutes, one of the things I learned was that, see, sometimes we limit ourselves to what we know, and we do not expand our knowledge. Say, there is no global champion who has not been a local champion. And for you to be a global champion, you must be a local champion and a local champion. It simply means that if you are working in Lagos and you are a champion, you must find a way to be a champion in Oyo. And what makes you a champion is not that you are going to do something there, but you know what is currently happening there. As a social world, you know what is currently happening there, you have the knowledge, and you understand it. So that when they speak, when you are on the table, and they talk about diverse problems, you should be able to also share your knowledge. And that is what helped me when we were in Nairobi. We're sharing our experience. I work in Lagos, I work in so many places. But I've not worked in some African countries. But I read about what is currently happening in some African countries. So when they were speaking, I was able to contribute. From my contribution, I don't know anywhere. We finished the training. I was asked to wait behind to do additional 6 months with another organization. Just because you have the money. Volunteers must, what is the conclusion of what I'm trying to say? Volunteers must seek for knowledge and must learn from it. Thank you so much, Dr. Please let me know if you want
Don't spend your energy, do this class for him because my book is already filled up. I don't know about this. I've written down a lot. At the point, I just felt like, oh, which one am I going to start doing right now? Is it to start changing my images? Is it to start writing a proper story? Is it to begin to differentiate just volunteering for the picture paparazzi sake or for the main impact? You know, because I know that you learned a lot here today and from what he talked about, and the topic was social media storytelling and the impact. Right? That. So thank you so much, Mr. Oladumesi. I've learned from you. And I just want to quickly drop those points that I jotted down. I hope other people did the same. And he said that local action versus global action. He also told us that that we should identify a problem with the location. So meaning that you don't just go out there, you are not there and figure out the language, just take a picture, or you don't pick all the references there and took pictures. I went to third language and I picked up the say, and the third language you went to, why did you pick the text? What are the issues or the problems that the text is causing in our nation? So he also told us that that we learn through the process. We learn through the process, and that's very, very important. And one other thing that he said that really, I said, no, this is it for me, where he said that there is no global champion that has not been a local champion. So you have to start from the grassroots. You have to start from your community. You have to start from where you are, before you'll be recognized or seen out there. Cannot be those people that they're saying that the tribe in Nigeria used to say that. I don't know if I should say it in their language. Okay, so I'll say it in their language and after. So from the eastern part, they say that on common language, meaning that somebody that is good outside, you are just good outside, you know it's somebody good, but inside you are nothing to write about. So I know that our participants today, both physical and virtual, we are good both in and out of our community and of our country, and I know that we'll continue to make impact. So thank you so much, Mr. Oladumesi, one more time. I think I'll have to come for a class regarding story writing, most especially because there are some people like myself that are good with expressing themselves in terms of talking about their stories. So when it comes to writing down, they start subjecting and they don't know the thoughts just, disappear. And looking at the picture, when you were talking, I was pointing at myself. There are some people, they've done a whole lot, but when it comes to putting it on social media, they find it difficult. They don't know how to go about it. And when it comes to volunteering, there are some people you volunteer with, or some organizations that sometimes when you make use of the pictures while you volunteer with them to write a story of your personal page, I think some organizations may be kind of frown at it, or they feel like you should probably take some kind of permission. Okay, you volunteer for us, we know, but this is our organization. So I think maybe we organize another program where you come and take us on the very, very details, things that we need to know about putting up our stories and how to write it, not just for the social media sake, but that can also help us to throw more opportunities to us and then expand our impact. Thank you so much. Please, if you have any questions for our physical participants and also our virtual participants, if you have any questions, please raise your hand with the emoji, and then our physical participants. Do you have any questions for Mr.? All right. So, okay, please check. So while you're checking out questions, okay, you have a question.
And the question is, you quickly mentioned about consent, teenage beneficiaries consent. So I want to ask, what exactly now? For teenagers now, they don't have full consent to give. They don't have the right to give consent on matters like that. So is it that we are not permitted to post their pictures?
Okay, so thank you. All right, so great, thank you. So, if you give consent to people who are older, from I think 18 and above, and ask them for people who are being lesser, who are teenagers. But sometimes you need to have the people where they sign to say, oh, okay, yes. And sometimes some of them don't have their guidance. But there is actually a community entry before you can implement such program in the community. Either you've spoken with the land, right? Or you've spoken with maybe the leader of that community. Because we've gotten the consent of the leader of that community, we can post it. Okay? We can post it. For young people who are below 18, then they can't give consent and cannot get married. But because there is an authority, the authority is the community entry or either meeting the head of that community to say they want to implement it, and that program will bring it to that. So you can use that person's consent to cover up because they are invited us from that community. So they are expected, you can put them in.
Thank you so much. Yes. Okay,
Right.
So my question is, you talked about writing our stories. You talked about writing our stories in problem to the three from our problem, action and impact. So my question is, if I am writing how my volunteering has impacted my life, I'm not just talking about the impact on beneficiaries. How can I bring the script be fitting that? And what's my story always be about beneficiaries?
Thank you. So your story can be personal. Maybe sharing what you have achieved over time. You don't have a problem, so you can't start the problem statements. You are writing a passage. But you can write a story that needs to move voluntarily. An example of such is when I finished my BSc. There is this gap, like 3 months then before you enter swimming class. You just stay at home, you not do anything. You'll be waiting for them to post your picture, to post your name, to know the school that you sent. So when I finished my JSS, I was at home for months, and it's expected for me to be at home for 3 months. I wasn't doing anything. So I found it very difficult, right, to understand why I'm staying at home. So because I'm staying at home and I wasn't doing anything, I enrolled for the fashion as a fashion designer, just for me to get skills and to be able to buy in that sense, to be able to get skills from that of time. During the time I was learning my fashion, I come across an organization called HR. And what they do is they help young people shape their life, shape their heart, and volunteer for that organization.
with that story, does it look as if I have? The problem was that I wasn't doing anything. I enrolled. During the time I was learning, I met an organization. I started an introduction. So because I found passion, and I want to do a career, I volunteer with that organization. You are already making it. So you will not say, since you volunteer for that organization. After you volunteer for that organization, you now help the organization to implement, you participate in social activity with that organization. So reach out to this, and that. You have actually shared their experience. So you did say that, oh, when I was going on, I was trying to cross the road, go by the side, because there was no place giving that. All those stories sometimes not repeated. But when you tell a story from personal experience, and you link it to those organizations that help the growth, then it's fine. So your story might not necessarily be for beneficiary. It can be targeted at you. But when you're writing your story, you start also to impact the created person. And there's not how you want to mention the impact of the person without them mentioning that impact. Right? So you must link your story. And that's what's making it. Does that answer it?
Okay, so do we have any other question? Okay.
I didn't say most ask question. Me, I like to learn actually, and I see every opportunity that I have to learn. Thank you so much to our speaker, Mr. Vladimir Ibrahim, for this very wonderful session. I know I said that, but when I came here, I know you mentioned something about your volunteering experience in Namibia. Also, in Nairobi, yes. So I know you've worked on, you volunteered through UN.
Oh, yes.
That United Nations volunteer. I would like you to talk more on that so that people can know how they can sign up. Because many people are now aware that United Nations volunteering platform, they don't know how to sign up. They don't know that there are several opportunities that exist here. But that was how you got to Nairobi. Everything was paid for. All you had to do was go and volunteer in schools and all of those things. So there are a lot of opportunities for volunteers because you don't know how to take those opportunities. You just fly over here. And when you mentioned that, I thought to point that out. Please, thank you.
Thank you so much. So please, apologies. I totally forgot. One of the things that I want to share today with to also share a platform that we call volunteers to grow. It's called United Nations Volunteers. And across the world, we have UN volunteers. And sometimes we volunteer and we believe that it should be free. But what UN platform does is to give it started. And to give an opportunity to volunteers for great organizations like the UN organization, serve UNESCO, and so on and so forth, right? And you can also volunteer for other international organizations, and so on and so forth. So UNB, I want you to sign up for UNB. So there's a platform called UNB.org. So what that platform does is to aggregate different United Nations or international organization volunteering opportunities. And then post it on that platform. And once they post it on that platform, it's expected of you to use that platform to register. And when you register, you can actually apply. My first working with the UN was through the UN. So I went into the United Nations Volunteers Portal and I saw a job opening, volunteering opening opportunity with the UNFPA, and I applied for program support. And immediately you are employed, they won't call you UNP, you are the UN staff because you are working with the UN. So the UNP platform just allows you, there is a platform for professionals. They call it the United Nations Volunteers Experts. There is United Nations Volunteers Specialists. There is University Youth Volunteers. So currently, the United Nations organizations like UN Women, UNFPA, Then I think last month they just recruited about 20 young people as a youth volunteers for the 16 days of activity. And what those young people need to do is also to go to their community, ask them about HPV, capacity FPV, quality FPV, and they get little snack. Little snack. Now they are not paying you in dollars, they are paying you in naira, right? So your money can be converted to if at the end of your assignment. So the quality assignment is when you go into that platform, you register, and when you register, can we quickly like okay, maybe you can just go on your phone, just search UNB.org. 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 You sign up. When you sign up, you put your normal information, like your name, your age, your date of birth. Then you also put your experience. So which organization have you worked with? And when you are creating your profile, and you are creating your profile, so you are doing it. So when you are creating your profile, you're writing this is the organization I've worked with. This is the name of the organization. This is my role, and this is my TOR. For example, I volunteer for Volunteer Connect, and what I'm currently doing in Volunteer Connect is I'm a communication expert, so I help them with their communication social media plan. So it's expected of me to have like a TOR, right? The roles and responsibilities. So when you are creating your profile, you put your TOR and you put what you've achieved. So what you've achieved simply means that you're saying that after you join the organization, you help them to create their social media platform. You help them to do live chats with young people, all those things. So all those information will be. Are you there now? You click on sign in and sign up. So you will see the platform. There is lots of opportunity, and that opportunity you can apply for. There are international opportunity. There are national opportunity. I have friends who registered to and she is actually an international staff in another country. She left Nigeria, paid for all her flights and everything, South Africa. So what UNB platform does is the navigator compiling different UN international organizations for the child and apply. They're not doing that. There's short assignments. There are 1 year assignments, there are 6 month assignments, there are 3 month assignments. We also have 1 month assignments, depending on in that platform. I've seen a friend who got the person is actually a graphic designer, and the UN organization is looking for a graphic designer, and he applied for virtually. And that assignment was 6 months, and the pay. So volunteer right now in this new world is not for free. The platform will can give you where you can get your money, you can buy. And even it's like not just 80 years. So even if you are 80 years, you can still volunteer. You can still volunteer. We have volunteers who are better off than a bank manager. And what they do is also right? I've not worked in the bank before all my life. God, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. I don't know if I would say it's a secret for those that are not aware about the UNB. Thank you so much, Mr. Olajumeji, for that. In fact, thank you very much for asking that question in my mind. But I hope there's no age so. Because for people that are above 30, we've seen a lot. I mean, above 35. For those above 35, we are going through a lot when it comes to opportunity. And I'm happy that this is one of the opportunities that even people that are 80 can, also tap into. Thank you so much for sharing. And this is why you should always, make sure you are connected to volunteer connect. Because you see, we have people with a lot of secret opportunities that you can tap into. So if you're not associated with volunteer connect, you are missing a lot. And one of the ways you can, associate yourself with volunteer connect is to go to their Facebook page, their Instagram page, their LinkedIn page, and then Twitter. On the social media, we are there. So just connect with Volunteer Connect, and then we'll be dropping other opportunities on how you can gain a lot of opportunities, to global volunteer opportunities. Okay, so we have another question. Oh, nice. You want to contribute?
I think another way to what he said, I've really in fact, when I went to serve the university, I was supposed to play. I think I volunteered in the last. I think it's volunteer and from volunteering with a smaller NGO. So like, oh shit, the program manager, let's have it in 4 years. So I moved for, I think I volunteered for UNFG Portugal. Yeah, so when I moved to the north, was precisely. And I don't know, but somehow I just felt like I should volunteer. And so I was given Ministry of Women Affairs as like PPA. And the thing is that Ministry of Women Affairs in the country, they affiliate with us in whether international or national. In fact, for your any states, you have to register on board. So I had to look for UNICEF to volunteer. When I stepped into UNICEF, they had a board meeting. And I didn't even know. I had looked for UNICEF for like just 2 weeks. So then you're like, oh, you can find in this place and what's it? I wish I was on my company before. And I want it, and people didn't know. Big men, they all sit there and they're like, what do you want? I said, I came to volunteer or I tell something. It was so hard because a lot of people come into different states and work out without even knowing what's available for them. And so like they were surprised, like what people never walked into them and say they don't volunteer. And they're like, I will give you the job. And that's how they were doing it. And then they were like, what course are you studying? So they psychology, and they said, oh, you work with this person well. And that's how they introduced me to USA. And I started working as a gender specialist for someone as an assistant. So I want to say that you won't have to wait for opportunities, right? Walk up to that office. You don't know who they need at the moment. Even if it's volunteer for the mentor and they don't pay you and all. Just for me, I sincerely want to say that some of the Nigerian company or NGO, they actually do take advantage of these people, and that's actually not fine. It's not funny. Where there is grants, you actually know there is grants, and you know that these grants at least is stipend to because you pay transfer, and a lot of times they don't give these volunteers bulky work that they were supposed to pay. They give it to the volunteer. So you have to be actually very wise when you're volunteering. You don't just volunteer because you want to volunteer. You have to be very wise in doing. Which I used to tell someone when I was a kid. I brought in other class. I went to spread the news that they came around, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm not giving you the job and all and all and all." I said, first of all, you have to be quick. You have to be outspoken. So when they were paying a lot of jobs, I said, please. I don't think this particular job I should be doing it. This is this person that's supposed to be doing this job. So be vocal when you're not insulting me, but you're just saying, this is this. I cannot be used. Even though you're paying me
or you're not paying me, you cannot use me. If it's time for me to rest, I rest. If it's time for me to step out and go home, I go home. So you must have to be very, very conscious of your environment, even as a police. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Please, let's clap for her, please. Thank you so much. Because sometimes volunteers, they don't get bored of volunteering because they see volunteer as a place where they just use them and that's it. And it's so annoying when there's a particular type and allocated to that volunteer role, and you will just see the organization look for a way to take it out and then not give to these volunteers to encourage them. Okay, so the organizations are getting volunteers need to do better. In ensuring that the volunteers are not seen as people who are being sold out of slave trade within their country again. There are different ways to sell out someone for slave trade. It's not about us exchange of money for this person. It could be exchange of making it of this person's ability, this person's skills, and not giving them what the skills is worth, and it's just like these people are using me to achieve their own. In as much as we learn in the process, just like Mr. Vladimir stated earlier. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. So let's seek for opportunities to learn and to volunteer for our own growth and the good of our nation. So before our speaker will be giving us, we are going to take a good picture. But before we take a good picture, I want us to please look at the person, set beside you. What is that person into? That's their name and what they are. Because you don't know if you have your next partners, collaborator with you, Just try to find out what the person is doing and their name. So while that is going on physically, we want our virtual participants to also drop your name and what you do. And if you have a website where can be checked out to see what you do, please do that. It's very, very important. So that we'll be able to collaborate, partner to continue increasing our impact. So our online participants, please drop your name and your organization or what you do, even if you don't have an organization that you're associated with. So we're doing that just in the next 1 minute, just 1 minute. Please, I'm going to ask you the first thing on what you're saying. I like that idea. Okay, so hope our virtual online participants are dropping there. Please drop your hand now on the computer later. Okay, so I'm going to let me say my name. Please, I'm introducing myself. What I do now. I want to say okay, so I want to believe we've all done that. Thank you so much for that little break of knowing yourself. So my name is Mukiru and I currently associate truly verified officer. We also have that's called the World Central Percent Watch Observers, where we create awareness regarding issues of sexual and gender violence. And also we use media and information literacy to tell people how to verify information before you spread them. So that is what we do. And when it comes to project implementation, you have me to work with you, come up with ideas, and how to implement programs that will impact our nation, Nigeria. So thank you so much for having such a good session. So for our physical participants, we're going to ask one or two questions. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, done. Yeah, done. Okay, yes. Yeah, so you can always network after this. So I would like to ask one or two persons to tell me what the next person that decided what they are into and their name. I'm going to ask them. I know this person is wrong. I should do what? Okay, first.
Yeah. That's what I read about.
Sisters, their name is Solar for your land.
So that's what her name and what she said to do.
Okay, her name is Solar. So she said that she's like,
okay, so that shows that probably some of us don't get information and then just tries away.
Yeah, eventually that.
Okay, so please kindly
You want to
okay. So someone, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, from the state, okay. You're into processing engineer, chemical engineer, and you are related with science, chemical product limited. Okay, nice. Thank you. Oh, you're retired.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Thank you so much, Samuel, for sharing. And I look forward to other participants online sharing theirs too, so that we can help people to work with and then partner with. As it stands now, partnership is one of the SDG goals. And without that, I don't think we can't do it all alone. I remember the last yesterday's section, the speaker said that the SDG is not meant for one person, it's meant for all of us. So we have to come together, partner to implement the other SDG. So we'll be taking a group photograph with our speakers before one of the speakers takes a speak. So, yeah. Let's all come. Yes.
My colleague. Let's
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I need to go.
Yeah, no más que las videos.
Mama, why?
Dios mío, usa tu.
Can you guys now?
66. Everybody 66. Stay now, 66. 66. 66. All right. 66.
Motion. Six is not what we can say. One of the.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Is it related to that? See, that's interesting. Thanks. Okay, so thank you so much to all of you for that coming up with a beautiful picture. And to our online participants who are reading, we're going to see our pictures with you online. So thank you so much for hanging in there. So we'll be calling on our next speaker, who will be taking us through on the heart of volunteerism, understanding yourself and others. It's very, very important to understand yourself and others that you'll be working with. Because if you don't know who you are, if you don't know yourself, you will not be doing the proper job when it comes to volunteering, to make impact. And our speaker is Mr. Ekudayo Uluwadamidari. He's a seasoned personal discovery and development expert with over 8 years of impactful experience driving transformative change in youth capacity development, sustainable practices, and community empowerment. Renowned for his strategic problem solving and visionary leadership, he has consistently championed initiatives that foster growth, inclusivity, and resilience among individuals and communities. As the founder of YTOP Global, Uluwadamilare has empowered thousands of African youth to harness their potential while advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Its efforts in zero hunger initiatives, circular economic practices, poverty alleviation, and quality education have left an indelible mark on communities, paving the way for sustainable and inclusive development. In fact, if I keep reading his profile, I don't think we're going to leave it today. He has a lot of impactful work he has done and a lot of degrees to himself and a whole lot. And I just want to please say that his role in capacity development trainer at Vintage Center, he has trained and mentored hundreds of African youth, equipping them with the skills, mindset to excel in today's competitive global landscape. And I know that someone that is going to share a lot of impact with us here today, being someone who has done a lot in the community. So, without your hand not being busy, please.
Thank you. Amazing. All right. right, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm super excited to be here. Sorry, don't mind my voice. It's been back and forth for the past 2 weeks. Rama is my boss, and we have to be here. Very delighted for where the conclusion that it's very good. First speaker, I think he has said so many things. I'll just be what you already shared. I won't bother sharing so that we can make it more interactive. This is something practical and voluntary is not essay, and it's not point that you write down, it's action that you take. And I'm also glad for the piece of it I've been able to do that people are here, people of experience who have done things perspective and ways and making impact. So we are change makers and we are already people of great impact. Keep everything celebrate yourself. One truth that can be that everybody we have the interests of making parts, but not everybody will have making parts. It is also a fact that everybody wants to change, or people want to take action to change. Everybody wants to be better by desire, or people are ready to take action. Everybody has some problems around, or people at work who are going to take the price, sacrifice, and so on. And this is detrimental because of the fact that many people have this mentality of transferring blame because of something. And like one of the things that there's a quote that my friend will smile at. It's either you have this to see you have a result. That never happens. Which means for you to be here despite the conditions that happen to you, it shows your depth of knowledge test. It shows your eagerness to make it. And from the name itself, from the volunteer connect, the best way as a volunteer is not just taking the action, it's also connecting with the right mind. And I'm happy to be here to also connect myself with you. Also, great people who are already making impact. Because by the time we connect, something always happens. We share ideas. When we share ideas, we become empowered. Our vision becomes clear. And when vision becomes clear, everybody knows their strength. And that's why I love the topic that's I'm student. It's like great production. And the topic is very interesting because it's just in understanding yourself and others. There's a quote I love, which I always develop my life on, and which says that investment in self has the highest. You can use your gadget, use whatever you are putting money, but whatever you have in the day, and sometimes that need to be shared. Like another thing that was well put together, it says that the art resources, when it's being done, it's getting reduced. But our potential, the more we use it, the more it gets bigger. And that is something really that God has given to us. If we are not stretched ourselves to know our capacity, that will not be eagerness to know. So the more you stretch, the more you identify more capacity than you can do. And also, I also believe that there are three potentials and potential forward to look for in life. Opportunities that we must always find out. And the first one is opportunity to learn. The best way to learn is by being available to gather knowledge. And that's a value. The next one is opportunity to practice. That is the place of volunteering. Whatever the skill that we've mastered. The next one after that is opportunity to prove. Is where money comes into. I love the example I made when I gave you that someone was sharing by volunteering, talking about the value of time and dedicated to art. It is because you are taking the mastery to prove what you are doing. Anybody who is not sure the capacity that he or she has will be difficult to prove the essence of the information that. So when you know, then when you can put that, oh, I sabi this thing and I know my rights. But you don't know right why you are not even competent of what you are sure because we want to please people because you are not happy about what your delivery is. And that is the ending point. So I'm asked to talk about understanding yourself. So I put that understanding me. It is very easy for us to assume that we understand ourselves until we begin to manage. Like one of our past presidents, he said it is easier to manage cattle than to manage humans. If is a point of fact that it is degrading for what he said is correct. I've been an animal scientist, my profession shows that every cattle has a root colony. When you are moving a herd of cattle, once the leader has stopped, you cannot move the rest. Then shoot them along or they follow the instructions. So here, hey, once you are leading somebody, then you need to understand their personality and what they do. Do you know who I am? Do you know what do you have? Who are you? I have this, I have that. For this, put down your hand. If you check the animal kingdom, a small rat can be one people for it. We look like a human. We have that human ego. And one thing is, it is very difficult to work with people that are knowledgeable because everybody has a part and everybody has something to do. And in every statement, everybody is a reference according to. So which means we don't really understand ourselves. There's a place of service, there's a place of assignment, and there's a place of life. So essence of my back and forth things is, do you really understand yourself? And that is what so let us unlock within ourselves to make a difference that we need to see. All right, so if I ask you that what's the volunteering company, it's like I'm just trying to stress myself because volunteering is an act, it's an action, it's a lifestyle. And I'm happy to connect with another volunteer that's even a senior volunteer, right? My big partner that I introduced myself to. Yes, you know, you think I've done something and it's all that don't get like that. Don't become 18 years of doing this. How old am I? I'm humbled by our community and a gesture and the energy. And it's because not everybody can do that. Someone can say it's always but I mean, yes. Let's go to the parents. Let's try the back. It's because she understands herself. And when you put others before yourself, it's positioned in the dynamic status that you two you will look at. Now I'm ready to pour my heart, you're ready to pour out heart to me. Give me what I needed. But when you're sick, you understand this. If you understand this, it's more easier to connect to it. And people say this. So I want to ask you a question. Since we have been seated here now, are people able to communicate something extra from this discussion with your neighbor? If yes, can I see it? All right, one question. All right, so let's go. Like I said, asking for the definition of volunteerism is not something that I should do because it's something that I do. But I just want to add something very few that you know or you might not have paid attention to. That volunteerism is not just about lending the hand of support. It's about changing life. But what from within you? I have an experience that changed my own perspective in 2022. All my life, I've been speaking to people that can hear me, that can see me, that can clap for what I'm saying. For this special year, there was a massive outreach to secondary school to train them, and I partnered with an organization that does more of sort of gender issues, sexual harassment, and the like. And I entered this school, the first one, I was happy and motivated them, give them affirmations. I entered the next school, full of that energy, like person that drank energy. I look at these children wonderfully. I didn't change the sound before I came to school. Very bad. As I entered the school, I was speaking to them. I saw them smiling at me. And in my head, I was like, what I'm saying, is it funny? Instead of taking a pause to reflect on what I'm even communicating, because I was saying that good question. The way you're saying, like, some of you are like, come on, I didn't teach. Not only that, this student can. When I look at one of their teachers came in with a black glass and stick, walking stick, then my conscious mind signaled to me that something is wrong. I don't know. As I look at it, I say, how come? You know, I look at the children. That one I communicated, I didn't pay attention to at first. And signal. And was just thinking it was a hand gesture. I didn't know that they didn't hear me. That day, I wept inside and said, I've stood before thousands of people. I have learned in England, my highest standard with people with 5,000, 5,000 capacity at once. But these people can do it. Fourth time, I was so grateful. They looked at them. Are there people who actually look at these children and give the same value to their parents? That experience changed my whole life personally. There's a very made a promise that every year I do a project for children especially because we most not. And I'm glad by the impact we don't do. What am I saying? It's laying a hand of that was going there to speak as a speaker. But getting there, I saw something different, which internally changed my own perspective. And so then I've been bringing those students to my program, and I love how they sing. I love how they communicate through so many times that I don't know normally. And I've traveled at least I've gone to Akwa Ibom, I've gone to Lagos, I've gone to Ashosh, I've gone to different digital states to see how these children are fared. But that is not my main cause. But the experience changed something. So according to a man called Mahatma Gandhi, he said the best way to find yourself is to use yourself in the service of others. Volunteerism shapes who you are, and it's an opportunity for self-connection. And I want to celebrate the brain-related volunteering work, volunteer connect for the vision of connecting volunteers to greater opportunities. Thank you so much. It's not just one-way street. It's about how much you use yourself to help others. How can you make the most of it? It is a personal commitment. It is a pledge that you must keep to yourself. It is not because of social media. It is not because of awards, accolades. There are so many wonderful people that have been doing stuff that they've never gone to do. And the funniest thing is that people that are doing a good job, they are working the new work. You don't find them, you don't have to the documents and keep on their phone. For people that don't need just one volunteer throughout the week, just one, you see wonderful stories, different packaging. And even people go as far as wide of taking people's pictures. The branding and picture of people will come back and background change using AI. So the package to like this. So what is the essence of this is, as the first speaker said, I love story behind everything we do this. And keeping a volunteer is determined long impact and a noticeable goal and to change the world. And you are a great ambassador. I think you should be part of yourself by giving yourself another round of applause. Like I said, understanding yourself before others. And I think I'm able to lay the foundation of how understanding yourself is significant to your strength. But without you having something as an ingredient, a key ingredient to volunteerism, it might be difficult for you to excel. And what is this simple ingredient I have known, you have known so far, like this is not a lecture, it's just a conversation, it's emotional intelligence. I don't know whether you have been in a program whereby you're volunteering because something happened, everybody just scatter. And either like I'm looking up and saying that, oh, this person, this my leader, just speak anyhow and just get like, what's this? Just get so angry and let them think so they want to destroy. Emotional intelligence is a powerful ingredient
that beyond the service, the sacrifices, you are glad. I read something, permit me, please, I'm a Christian and child of God. I read something that whenever you do that, you pop up, don't want to read it. Maybe you have to do something like, like you're already over, you're not doing it, and force yourself to direct now. So maybe from China, maybe your guy said to come and do something like this. The one we want to do is calculate. For you to agree that to your heart, you give to the blessings in the service. Which means that you need to understand and know how to manage your emotion and recognize the emotion of others. Now, face the day, maybe for you. Somebody's angry and you are playing. You need to understand the emotion, the atmosphere of where you are. And I used to tell this family to my team, you can transfer energy. If the energy is lively, you can transfer it. If the energy is low, maybe people are just coming, joining, just enter out, maybe just fight. They are spoiled something. So the environment you work in actually, so emotional intelligence, you have to understand what the situation of the like someone can someone just enter your sleep with blood really. You yourself look at you enter your house. You enter your own room. Because from the atmosphere is too serious, as if I'm doing a good service. And people that are here, they are really capturing them. But just a conversation I would like to explain. One of the five components I know through research that can help us better understand ourselves in the component and ingredient of emotional intelligence. The first one is, in no particular order, self-awareness. Are you aware of your capacity? Are you aware of your strengths? Are you aware of your emotions? For me, I think the kind of a young man that doesn't like aspirin. I don't know whether you like it. You put your effort into something and it's not getting results. You're like, come on. But if you know that is the situation of things, you need to have people that will surround you. Instead, you just bring them until they get. Emotional intelligence have this component I just explained as self-awareness to help you know what is your strength, and that's where SWOT analysis comes into place. And I want to ask you, sincerely, just I'm not going to cast you a team, it's not a conversation. How many of you are doing your SWOT analysis? Know your strength, know your weaknesses. Just don't worry, you can't see anybody's. I mean, I'm good at see you. Have you done your SWOT analysis? Don't do just see nothing. Okay, I'm seeing one, I'm seeing two. I don't know where you're shaking your head, like, it's like two. I'll say three. It's fine. Because the reality is that your strength will create opportunity, and your weaknesses will create the threats. That is why it is S or T. Strength and opportunity, weakness and threats. When you do this, you will be self-aware of what are the things I can do myself and what are the things I can lay hold and make possible. Self-regulation. I don't think people do this so much, especially in this part of Lagos. Because I remember in the day I was working, someone jumped me ego and still stood and faced me inside my mind. You jump me, you're like, I go my own, now you come eat me. You see the face inside my mind. I was like, come on, if I say I'm not mad, I respond back to you, right? You not carry bottle. Just drink me. Go, now you go fit the pain. Now, what really triggered me to understand self-awareness? Thank God for my mom. At the point in my life, I was kind of depressed because I put effort in my exam and the result wasn't good enough. And I told my mom, Mommy, I'm going straight to request for my result. Okay, fine. She now asked me something. I said, because people will be saying that, that son of a teacher, that not doing the exam. I was giving different excuses that people are saying. My mom asked me just a question. She said, ever since people have been talking, has it increased the hair in your body? No. Has it decreased the hair in your body? No. Why take your time to respond? Does it want it? Come on. People that have not invested in it doesn't have the right to challenge you. when she says stuff like that, and I think has something short scenario that can help everybody understand it better. And if you write exam in your school, maybe it's not that, and you inform your parents, and you encourage that, don't worry, it's just a situation. Like, maybe you, anything happens to you and your parents encourages you so well. Like, don't worry, don't give up. There's a better way. And somebody from outside, not started talking. What will you do? Just let it go. It's like who learned that. So controlling your impulses, staying calm under pressure. What do you need to stay calm under pressure? Some people, when they are very angry, they love, like this principle that I learned from one of my mentors, to say, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Some people will do count 1 to 5 in your mind for you. Some people have different love. Yes. So how do we regulate our impulses? Because if you don't, maybe let me use my brother, my friend, maybe John. John's an actual man, I've known him, and he needs to get something done. Maybe you're not getting it done. And maybe he reacted to that. I need to get this done. And now look at like, and maybe you want to fight him, all right? Then one part of you think that, come down. How do we regulate ourselves? This is beyond what it is our personal life. When you're aware of your strengths, you know how to regulate yourself when things are getting so impulse. I have a friend, I won't mention her, she's looking at me. When you want to get it, she says, see, drive down, I need to take a break. Down you take a walk. You take a walk, you come back and let it done. But you want to keep doing it when you are stressed, you keep making mistakes and making mistakes. And so, yes, he said, all right, take tea and drink it. Please don't even run off of my love out from it. Yeah, take tea and drink. I'm like, okay, thank you. Just take tea and drink, and I'll leave work. If I don't get back, I'm not productive. And that is how you're working with people. So please know how you self-regulate. Then motivation. Motivation drives you to achieve goals. In my own personal workplace, I love writing art. I like pasting words, affirmations, different things. So when you challenge me and look at it, I've achieved this. I've done it before. I'm doing it. Motivation. It guides you on your phone or anything. And empathy. Yes, and understanding others. We came from different backgrounds. We went to different schools. We have faced different life challenges. And volunteering gave my life. So you must have that empathy. You must have that significant recognition of people's strengths and weaknesses. And most importantly, you must have social skills. When you understand people, you understand how they behave without money. So let me ask you, when was the last time your emotions got the better of you during emotions? I'm asking again, when was the last time your emotion got the better of you during emotions? People are online, I need to help you. Ignorant, you can hear me. I think it's not even a minute. Sorry, I'm not saying physically, you can hear my voice. That's okay. Imagine that you have the power to control that moment. Yes, I remember going on the project back there because the material going for the project was enough, but people are too much. Those guys said they need to bring the camera, boss. And I remember that when I'm going, I have to make the car go for a second, walk at the back and do video. At least they break the glass. I have the video of people that break the glass. Why? Because people can get so aggressive. In this neighborhood, not this neighborhood. Any sort can get them money. Like giving some this one money, I'm making something. Just carry anything. You need to learn how to control your emotions. And understanding that there will always be conflict. Because there is internal conflict, there is external conflict. But internal conflict is more dangerous than external conflict. You know that. You condemn yourself so well. You get angry at yourself. You can even start yourself and not even easy way back until the one begin to drive you and they begin to cause anger. And this is something is wrong. So you need to know and understand how do you put all these together. Internal conflict, external conflict. And I tell you, I think I did a little bit the earlier statement. And the asked me is very dynamic question, which I want to show to everybody. Those who are online, sorry, you might not be able to talk as fast as this, but let's just follow through. They said, two of your friends, you and your best friend, you're on the project. And the project is to promote one person. And by the time you get on the project, maybe like the one you said that you're doing, right? Maybe there's some chance of giving more things to somebody that does them. You've done your best, but your friend that did not do the best, like you did the best, but not as your goal. His project was selected. And when I invited to the ceremony to give a speech, what will you say? I'm taking the cake. Two friends on the project, one to give the like second that this guy supposed to be listening. He did a lot. But on the other hand, the one that did maybe later or something was the one that the project was selected. Definitely to be behind, no matter. Then you want to like be behind. You know, I have to go and give a speech. And that's program. This what will you say? Just one person can just give me another. Anybody? Anybody? Any? Huh? Yeah, please let me hear somebody.
I didn't win the
You do it, yes.
grant.
Yes.
And then I'm asked to come and give a speech.
Yes.
Knowing that the person that won it, I
Yes.
did more work than that person.
Yes.
And I'll first of all start from the station.
Okay.
And then I also use that opportunity to also re-echo what I did. Maybe they didn't hear me very
Interesting.
I use the opportunity to re-echo it again. So they will know this is what I did. So probably maybe in the next opportunity for award, or maybe at that moment you might even say, oh, that I have an award, but they didn't print it. You know, sometimes people they say, oh yeah, you know, but truth be told, you may not be happy. And I know some people say everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it's not everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it might be maybe the people who are supposed to keep record of the work of these people are not at that moment paying attention. So they were able to pay attention during that person's time, and the person was able to make 1 or 2 points and make the person did watch. But I will definitely react what I did, or what I've been doing, and what I'm going to do. So that
Okay, thank you very much. I think I know that response. Another question which I can have another perspective to it. Oh yeah, everybody.
online question, please drop yours on the comment section.
All right, John wants to start. Go ahead, please. Online, please also please drop. Let's hear.
Very good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So basically, I love the fact that success in the who works diversity has put in the regular application of that. But also that it's usually right. And also look at that where it's like that possible that while they were going through work, not settled, going through maybe one challenge or the other, they have reached people who have to be developed in their head. And at that time, they decided to listen to the people it happened that way. Meanwhile, the other person that chose happened that somebody they just won the lottery. And at that point, we were all happy. And so, that happened, which helps the situation that's in this, right? So, what I would do, I would acknowledge them, all right? I would acknowledge the fact that, okay, they have done, they have their reasons for that. And then I will seek to know what I did not wear.
Please, are we all following?
What I didn't put, maybe they were looking for a particular, aspect of the application, and they said about that. But I didn't point that out. So the idea of asking for that is not to make them feel like, okay, not to hold them accountable at that point anyway, is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
All right. Then I'll make it in such a way that it could be like me wanting to get, know my wrong.
Okay.
So I will be able to do better the next time I'm given the same opportunity to get that. And hopefully we get that from them also appreciate them for being supporting the other people and celebrate them, because I believe so much that leaders should celebrate others.
Yeah.
Right? Because in celebrating others, you are bound to be celebrated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. I want something Priya had to say. All right, please.
So thank you so much for your contributions. So while you were sharing that, I said something to myself that, see, let's be very realistic. I create this very, very real. But everybody said I will not speak, I will not say what I will do, I will not say what I've done. Imagine this is like the spur of the movement. Do you understand? So first of all, first change. Let's talk very your face will change first. Your face are not complicated and who's doing it. I don't understand. Do you understand? People don't want to say his first, will not say what to do. But at that point in time, trust me, if you have not mastered yourself, your face will give out the fact that you're irritated and you're not happy. Right? And then if you're not be careful, you even walk out. So that's very realistic. Before we start saying that we now, of course, some of us have noticed to the point where we are very self-aware now, and we are realizing what we can do and what we cannot do. But you know, there's a saying that the weakness that you don't have platform has to be platform for you. So I would say at that point, let's be very realistic. I'll be very truthful with your face, the best change.
Thank you very much. Like I said, a very practical question. And what is the application of what I just said? It's simple. Many of us that are seated in a national job, screen volunteering experience, document, and you have used that experience to apply for yes or no, and you don't get it. How did we do? Same response that you live now is the practical of that stuff. You have the other opponent that are doing stuff. Which means that you need to understand how you are doing what you're doing. And this now help me to jump quickly into understanding of empathy for your team. So I can match it together. For your team, building connections to understand what they do, understand what they need to get things done, get job done, get assignment done, and becoming an effective leader. So something that's so important in everyday life. And it's gradually meeting and reducing. And that's the power of communication. In most of the work that people do, we have on the communication. That is very, very important, very common. And one thing I also learned over the years is that over communicating is far better than under communicating. And that's when you get a job, when you get a volunteer function, you have less communication and you're an expert. You don't get your KPI, you don't even know your KPI, you don't know what you're returning on. You know what? You don't know how you're being assessed. You don't know your delivery ability or documentation of things because you assume that come on, get it done. It's volunteering. Then, while you understand yourself, you must be somebody that listens to understand and not listen to comments. We are in a generation of volunteering that we are very defensive. So we want to peel out what's in our mind and not listen to understand. Even when you are given an instruction, there's nothing wrong in you asking for clarification. But we have modeled some experience from another part of the world that makes you feel like asking question is a weakness. It is not. Asking for clarification is not a weakness. It is better to take time to understand the instruction than quickly do things and waste time. And this is come from the element of you understanding yourself. Many people have been in a situation whereby in my team meeting, one of my team members use caption. So it's an interpreted caption for them. And after they go back to the meeting and listen again or get the script using AI note taker to understand what is the task that was given. But in the midst of so many communication, there are misinformation. Am I communicating? Yes. So how do you knowing yourself is your communication strength? Knowing how do you listen? And these are tasks that we can do to improve ourselves. And if we have any weaknesses whatsoever, you can ask.
what is my weakness? Write it down as a table, my weakness. How can I get better at another subtract? Like maybe I just watch a video, I need to wish somebody. Who am I accountable as column 3? Maybe I say, oh, John Rice is a good communicator, Madam Gomer is a good communicator. As their professional, can I commit myself to be accountable to them so they can guide me through? And the fourth line is about the timeline. So what is my problem that I identified? How can I get better at it? Who am I accountable to? And what is the timeline? So I want to be a better communicator in forward. And how do I want to do it? Watch YouTube videos, read books, attend programs, different things that will help us get better. Because I'm telling you how you, because when you understand yourself, when you get better, everybody will get better. You will help somebody, but you can't give what you don't have. It's from abundance and share. Am I communicating this?
Yes.
I'm really very proud because I don't know how many things I have there. All right, so another gap I've seen from volunteering and things that I've seen while communicating with people is that we are in the era of quick and that sensitivity that our leaders, I mean, anybody that is leading a team, do not lead with acts, with the heart and the influence. Everybody is authoritative. You know who I am? I think I'm the coordinator of this, but you keep struggling. We are not so concerned as a person that the next person beside you can lead and take up the leadership to the next one. We are not concerned of continuity of things or projects of activities. Because when we understand ourselves, we are called with due respect because the small of today will be the leader of tomorrow. The person that started the initiative of yesterday, another person will continue it. That is why we see some volunteering organizations like Postmaster, like this common sorry, the name just my head now, but I know it so well. Rotary, yes. Rotary. They are volunteering organization. But they are able to spend those 100 years plus because there is continuity of leadership transfer, getting from the arts and influence. That is why it is easier for them to do things. But we need to take time and adopt some models. Some models. Let's take some example of musicians just to package it together. The majority of the 30 people they are volunteers at the point. Then I saw something that I want to learn as a leader, and I think I'll begin to include that sphere of influence. Now, everybody look at it, we have some voluntary followers. You don't know him, but the time is role model, but they are voluntary followers. So they decided that there's something about you that I'm interested in knowing. I don't know it yet, but I know I'm knowing with time. So the leader, it is important that we don't inspire just in words or in action, because we want ready to be a leader that people want to follow. So I'm more wrapping up because I'm curious. I have a question in my heart that I want us to interact with. And this is something peculiar to all the volunteers. Can I go with my question? All right, so let me do something. Let me come down and volunteering experience. I'm doing 1 to 4 years, can I say 1 to 4 years of volunteering, actively volunteering, active, not just passive. Actively volunteering, 1 to 4 years. All right, 1 to 4 years, right? 5 to 8 years. All right, 9 to 12 years. But we have more 1 to 4 years. So my question for you is, what motivates you to volunteer? Anyway. Okay, thank you. So, take away.
I don't know the microphone. My voice is loud enough. Let's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So it's an honor to be here. I tried to be BOOTCAMP as a gang. There's always one reason or the other, maybe clashing. or something, and actually, people have an example of course for me. She's been many. Thank you, God bless you. So I am ambassador over here, and the reason I've been volunteering, I've been doing this since 2010 officially. Officially, it's longer than that, but you know, officially, it's 2010. It's just so much pain in the world. That's why I do what I do. It's so much pain in the world. And I had a personal experience coming home from school. I was really young at the time. Someone had left the baby, and the baby didn't make it. So it was a lot of what we're saying about era, terrible acts that the soldier has. They attack the child. The child didn't make it. I stood this short distance and from what everybody was trying to, people were cursing the mother and all. I kept saying to myself that no mother in her right mind would do this. Something must have caused the mother to, there was nobody else, there's no one in her corner. And that's why I do what I do for the abandoned mothers and their children, for the CWDs, children living with disability, the PWDs, people living with disabilities, the elderly. This is why I do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so I want it to be a practical tutor. Let me just give it to you because of my time. It's when you're sitting, you want to do a bit more reflection. Can you take it breath? Everybody, let's take a minute. Breathe in, everybody. So breathe out. Release it, calm down. All right, so I'm asking you now, I want to answer the question. Why do you want it? You have an answer? No, I'm asking. Your mind cannot be clouded. Okay? Why do you want to hear? Let your mind to mind. So I'm looking at mind. I'm trying to follow you. What is in mind? Okay. And that particular course that we're working, that particular initiative, why that particular? What sparked that action? What gave you the reason to do that? Then question number 2 to that, if you already got an answer or an insight to why I started with, is how do you feel after each volunteering work? How do you feel? Do you have that kind of satisfaction? The experience of working, meeting people, solving that problem, saving a child, like, gender abuse, so many things. Yeah, you just have done one successful, just one person. How do you feel? In each of the experience that you have, what should you have the greatest? Oh, let's not use the greatest. Should you have you are able to learn about yourself? And what was the experience? Are you happy? I tried and I learned something big. Really, really. Do you have answers? Thank you. And my last questions, take away payments. Payments, packaging, gifts, awards, whatever it is, from your volunteer, will you continue? Are we successful? Forget you have no job. You have no job, you have nothing that's bringing you money. For that cost, still we continue. No. Yes. Because the assignments refine itself. The passion. I don't know what you're passionate about. For me, I know what I feel when I see things. I go, I empty account for things. And sometimes I say, am I okay? Am I normal? You feel that are you happy? If don't forget, people are counting millions. Then you want that you make it so that parts. Right? Okay, you just one life and you're sick. And just one life. And that is the best. And this is about one of the curious about is we do something that people less follow up. Now data we are living the then I will go and share the experience. What how do you have to meet? What do you get to? What do you get to have people and find two grams of gold, grams of goods? That's all. And now we're social media. Hey, the situation we have put them more on social media with what they became them. It's not even correlating people. But how do we do for them? How do we say so fast about the volunteering, right? I can count 2 lives that I have worked with and we are still in connection. Can we see that, everybody? Yes, I'm proud of myself. Why? Because this year, about 150 of my students will be graduating. Not every they'll be graduating from the Boston University. And why? Because from your 100 level to 500 level, we're able to work together and we're able to build your organization. Some less, some do so many things. But you know what? I didn't use anybody. And we are all graduating in this African second class of what we need me to tell you again. Wow. Your life alone is a testimony for me as a young person, because I don't need data. I have them living now. Why? Because these are the things that can help. Now, whatever you're doing, you are changing life, you are changing communities. But the project you are doing is not based 10 factors to continue. But this is just to encourage everybody. Yes, let us reflect on our motivation. What gives us the danger to volunteer? Because we understand ourselves that we are under the passion of why and what. The conclusion, yes, let me just say this. As part of our continuous learning as a volunteer, knowledge never ends. I read something from the scripture that says that the day you stop learning, you will start forgetting what you. I was shocked, and that's true. How many of us love reading books? Thank you very much. Let's say read about, and so far, let's say I've read about 50 books so far, right? And it's out of all these years. Can't remember the 15 years of the book. Yes, but we've read it. You remember all the knowledge that we have gathered. And that is something peculiar about knowledge. The knowledge will show forth when the problem arises. The wisdom to now apply, we find where information is a reservoir. And that's why the book of the wisdom, not called the Bible, knowledge is power. Because when you have not got that point of application, just keep guarding, just get fit at it. Just like saving contacts. When you just like, hey, maybe police want to do someone. I have one number. So come on. So let's keep learning. Most importantly, volunteers, as you understand yourself about all this, it is important that we keep building a support system just like this. We keep encouraging ourselves, pushing ourselves, building our network together. Then we share challenges. I think on the time Rama and I work on a project together on the same streets. That experience today, I'm still in it because we are not much. But when we began to talk, come on, I said, okay, it's a lot. So we need to have volunteers together and them share their challenges. And them share the bodies. And I think volunteers will do that. I'm like a partner with them. Because we need to have the volunteering community together. Even John Best, this is a partner with that. Because we need the volunteers that do those great things to start sharing their experiences. So we need to encourage other people coming behind us because we don't know the challenge they are facing. And majority impact. It has been said that success isn't just about the skills you have, it's about the growth mindset you can achieve. And how can you continue to evolve as a volunteer? It's when you understand your why. That the reason why we're doing this is not for now. It is to build a future where everyone understands and values. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful teaching, because I'm always going to have learned a lot, and I also know people learn so well. And some points that he stated that I jotted down where he said that information is a reservoir. Meaning that when you have information, you have something that you will always, do with it. So there is a reservoir when there's an issue in this, where he stated that the knowledge will show forth when the problem arises. The knowledge you have, the skills you gathered, your capacity, your strength, everything, what you can do, in fact, what you are made of will show forth when the problem arises that requires what you know. So thank you so much for that, and we thank you for also ensuring that you are impacting the lives of people out there. And I also want to say that it also impacted us. So thank you so much. Please, if we have any questions for Mr. Damilare, please let's raise our hand. And then for our virtual audience, kindly drop your emoji by raising your hand. Okay.
Before we ask questions, I just want to say something. Thank you so much, Daniel. I mean, I've worked with you for over 2 to 3 years, and we've done great things together. And it's really the major reason why we are gathered today, or we started yesterday. Volunteers BOOTCAMP actually was created with the fact that I am a volunteer. I have over 5 years experience volunteering. And I know that we go through a lot trying to contribute our answer to the society. And I know that there are still some gaps that exist, because we as an individual are always looking for opportunities to invest in knowledge. And I felt that at Volunteers Connect, we decided that let's create a bootcamp, right? Here, everybody that's volunteering one way or another, including founders of organizations, come and sit down and have like a tete-a-tete. That is, we have a talk and talk about what it is that we are going through in the process of this volunteering. Because, for instance, when you were mentioning something, when you do that this way, I said, let's say that as it is, right? Let's say that as it is, and let's share opportunities that we have, so that more people can keep investing themselves and going. Now, this is question time. Ask that question, that deep question that you feel like, you can't find this answer. Those questions that if you search Google, you can't find. This is the time to ask those questions, because we have people that are experienced, like Ambassador Mumele. I've known her for a very long time. And she's as active as she stands. Like, come rain, come sunshine, she's always active, always full of smiles. There's some people like that, I don't know how they do, right? But this is the time to tap into that knowledge and that experience that they have. So ask those questions. There's no invalid question, there's no question that is for me or I want to start. No, ask those questions and let's also find answers together as people that are in the voluntary. Thank you so much.
Our online participants, please drop your questions on the chat. And if you feel like speaking, you can raise your hand with the emoji and we'll call on you. Please, I would like to hear from our online audience as well.
My name is Alami Bosi. What I want to say is actually not important. Just me that. There is an NGO I used to volunteer for before. So I noticed something, and something about me is that when I'm working with an NGO, there is no growth or like a motivation. It keeps me, I don't want to feel like working with them anymore. So what I do is say that they used to have an annual event. So I decided to say, like, not like I can still squeeze time out of my work to go for the annual event. I just decided not to go. So I think one of the founders of BOOTCAMP chair, something we met in another event, which that is an NGO, but that NGO is based on creative space. They got the stage play, theater, film, and all that. What I noticed about that NGO is that I have experience about volunteering. I've worked with them for that, but those conveners just started that. So we need to this year. So what I noticed about that NGO is that after 2 years of volunteering with them, they saw my capacity. and I joined the team. These other NGO are volunteering for long. There is no motivation. Come and join the team. Come and tell you guys how you do this thing before we call you guys come and volunteer for the annual event. So the man saw me at the other event and it was like painting me bad in front of the let me start together my saying the advisory board. You know, they used to have the people that hunt the NGOs. I don't want that to bother me. I said, "Excuse me, I need to do something." I just have to go out of my because I know the kind of person I am. If I sign the response, I'll be very pissed. Yeah. So I just try to control my emotion because the annual event which is or I don't want to mention it, or is an annual event also. So it's a 1 week long stretch. So I don't want that to bother me at all. So I just have to control my emotional intelligence with that situation on that. So that's it.
Yes, thank you very much for that question. It's very practical. One thing about volunteer organization always puts in the core value is you want to be appreciated and return for good. Yes, motivation comes in different ways. And if you are not getting, why should you be doing something? If you are not getting it, why should you do something? All right. So if you evaluate yourself, with your time, that is back. One is like a child, one is like a thoughts, one is like the treasures, and the other one is that's like little thing. But no time is there, thoughts is there, treasures is there, and talents. Yours are the idea. Anyway, when you see that you are given, I mean, like 50 years, and yourself for you to do evaluation and and by mouth said to you in part of the meeting organization, and if they are working, they are lost. But if they are lost, you don't have to let people know what by improving it. It's by them knowing it, feeling it. It's a feeling that but this person knows.
That's what
Yes, I know the other say that you know the part of the thing she lost it. And you lose baby. So you can't don't forget what you say. Like I said, you can't doesn't start your pain. It's your sadness. So but when you did anything you're already part of it. What you contribute to, they know, but what you say. For me, I have one principle. I think I have 5 minutes. And I walk with you and I leave. But I tell you 2 minutes. If you want me to go, I'm telling you. And I can tell you both that people have been working for at least all the rest of the capacity. And I worked about that and part of it. Yeah, this is my first job and everything. That's team part of it. I'll be claiming the name. But I'm not. Because you know, but someone can just have the mean let's get a people know the key ingredients that if I have them, like my brother said that if I have them, what about the food that idea? I'm telling you to level that I'm able to. If you know it and somebody knows this, people will pay you. I'll take a back example. If you want to invest, just like the only difference is important. We are doing the right side of it. Okay. Because I have you. Yes, because I know what we can do. And that is it. So you don't have to put it in the so living is very bad. You're not going to take ability service. Because so, but if some people when I'm wasting time, they are going for doing it. So if you are doing it to feel, come on. At the point, I was going to show that you go and do projects and you are coming back. The data we get, you have to exaggerate don't do it. I can't exaggerate. If I have 20 people, I'm proud to do 20. Why do I convert 20 to 500? Have my picture so 10? Why? You are not good, you are not know you're looking at. Let's keep our value. 5 people is 5. Yes, it is 2 people is 2. And we are proud of it. And that is for other people to manipulate it. So let us correct that notion, the mindset that We are based on quality, quantity. Thank you.
Online, please drop your questions. Speak your mind as a volunteer. If you are not a volunteer and you just want to learn from this platform so that you'll be able to know how to volunteer in other organizations or the organizations they're interested in, ask those questions so that we'll be able to give you response that will help you to better volunteer in organizations you're looking forward to.
All right. Thank you so very much. Very good, friend. Okay. He has said so much that basically he has said sweet. Yeah, basically. How it is call it the hidden treasures of Terry. All right, learning for Terry rights and give from that question. I think it's my what I share and what I say is volunteers the particular individual in 2015. I'm not so sure in a particular capacity. I'm not so sure you want to remain in that capacity as a volunteer. If you must be with that organization, right, since 2015 to this night, I'm not so sure if it is normal, if it is proper, if it is okay for you to remain a volunteer in that same capacity. Again, I said there are levels to volunteering, and I would say this that, as a volunteer, I'm an adult volunteer. I have anything I have become and becoming as a result of volunteering. All right, I've been with NTA since 2017. I had my training. After my training with NTA Television College in Jos, 2017, I finished, and then I joined NTA from that time till now. Now, I'll tell you, I'll ask you this. How many of you think that I'm there as a full staff? So many persons think so, but not, it is not what it is exactly. I am there as a freelance person, as an independent producer. So I also program that. But the difference between me and staff members is that they receive salary at the end of the month. But I don't receive salary at the end of the month. Not even the wage, so the wage is at not at the end of the month, but I know what I get from it. I would say that. Now it's a platform. Super. But the platform NTA has been my first program I posted in 2019 was very simple. Hello, just listen to my calling from NTA, and yeah, I was the office that day. Okay, this is the reason I'm calling you. I'm having that bad you want to do those first. Oh, jump us, yeah, because I know you left the company. That's it, right? So now I have platforms that I don't volunteer actively anymore. Not because it's taking back to me, but because I know I've outgrown the platform. Now, how do I outgrow the platform? Very simple. We may not explain that now, but what I do in that sense, when I say volunteer opportunities on those platforms, I have a lot of persons that are willing to, that I know should be part of that platform to get themselves up there before they also get to where I am. Very simple. I connect them to that platform and they're happy and beautiful. And I'm not sending them there because I know, because I am above it per se. Exactly. Yes, this is what it is, right? But I also want them to gain that experience I've got. And then, okay, now I'll drop the mic first. Now, listen. Some of them that I'm abroad, I serve as a consultant. Okay. I volunteer for advocacy and work for them on that. Yes. And recently I had to call me to speak just 2 Fridays ago, in Friday, right? That was after my birthday or whatever, which they called me. She said, should reach out to you, it's your birthday. Yeah, no, super, thank you so much. I'm not going to tell you that, right? It's okay. So what is next? I mean, what you have coming in the next, weeks? You know that, oh, yeah, it's International Day of Kindness or something, what kindness and all that. I was saying, like, oh, okay, let me see if I can stop by, right? Yeah, actually, so excited. Okay, can you come speak to the children? Speaking. Right, so there are levels. So once you know that you have grown that level, cool, actually, but don't leave them as though you quarrel with them. Leave them on a very good note. Let them know that, yeah, this is, I mean, they would not think that organization is understanding. If it's reasonable enough, the person should also know why you are not there. It's about understanding. Now, I've been telling the platform called the Youth Summit. First, I attended the conference 2019, and then in 2021, I went there. I attended it the second time. That week, I was one now reaching out to them to tell them that week one I attended as a retail. And then the next, from that 2021, they made me a team member, management team member 2023. And that's how did it happen? Why did it happen? It's so my work, the people are so awesome. So if a platform if the platform cannot see a potential need for you to grow with them, some that it's very okay, but don't leave or these guys are bad. I don't do about or anything, right? I mean, they're just that's the level of knowledge. That's much. So you that have better understanding of this, teach them to respond. I think that's
Thank you so much. I just hope organizations to provide not for how people that work with them, just the way we are always told that those are needed but not because employers.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I chose media and I've been volunteering for about one of the things that challenges me to actually speak today is because I thought to myself, if I am not saying something in this space, there will be no other place for me to actually say something. Because basically, this is all I've done most of my young adult habits. And what's prompting me to speak is because she said, I'm looking for volunteers because there's so much need in the world. And I was like, wow, my only reason for volunteering is because I find the need to job, so to speak. So when she said there's so much pain in the world, I never really looked at it from the point of view of the pain. I always feel like, okay, we are here, let's do something, let's make a difference, let's make it better. So the mantra is always leave this as it is, like leave it the way you meant it or you make it better, even if it's the slightest. And then I want to speak to volunteering because volunteering is not something that is permanent. It's not supposed to be permanent. It's supposed to give you the opportunity to live when you want to live. And this being said, when I go into space where I volunteer, my thing is after so what is the thing that needs to be done? It doesn't matter what I am volunteering for, as far as I'm concerned. I think a lot of people are always pick a niche. I don't have that in me, so I'm always everywhere. That's why when I saw it, I said, I know you. I know a lot of people from different places, but sometimes I don't remember names, and I'm like, it's fine. Let's gather the money. But the other lady talked about the fact that as a volunteer, you might get taken advantage of, and that's like your own start point. So if whatever it is that you are doing is something that you are doing from a place of joy, it doesn't feel much of being taken advantage of, because once you are tired of doing that, once you are like, you are done, nobody's bringing you back, you're volunteering for God's sake. So I think that you should always know that. So once something is not really enjoyed, and I don't think that for me, the biggest family, the biggest friend, the closest allies I have, I met through volunteering because I am not actually a big person. I don't like people much like that. And I'm not, we are not together. But when I am in places where I have to volunteer, I realize that I'm able to bond more with people. And the last thing I want to, not the last thing, but one other thing I need to also take care of that sometimes it's not about the child, it's about the one, just one person. I am very particular about that. So when I gather people around or when I am in the midst of people and there's so much distraction, I just say this thing that needs to happen to just one person. And so for Rama, okay, now we gather the lower level. The thing is that for her to do this bootcamp, I don't think it's for as many people that have joined, but it's for just the one person that can understand what this thing means to them. And that was that's it for me. When I got to the union, I was like, why people take my lectures, so I don't go out, I don't get time. But then volunteering found me when I was in the uni, and I can tell you that I didn't for once volunteer for anything relating to the university. But I was in the uni and I was going out and I was doing things. And so sometimes it's just for the one because I was very determined on just going to the uni, getting my degree. I didn't even want one friend. And by the time I was done with uni, I had, oh my God, I had like too many people around me that were like, it's just from volunteering, just from doing things for other people. So I just want to speak to the one that might be listening now that, I don't know, just find joy in doing it. And once you are tired, leave, take a break. And that's what I did. And so at the point I was like, even doing COVID, people were like people carry COVID concerns. Just stay at home because you are the one that is always all over the place. And fortunately, I didn't do anybody to it. So, so after that, I took a step back and so now it's only those people I tell me, oh, let's do something together. And I'm not feeling that. I'm just like, I'm not chanced. I don't have time for that. But when we go back, way back, like, okay, we together for a while. And I'm like, don't worry, we gather them. That's just it. That's all you need to hear from me. We just gather the one. So I'm just appealing to the world. That's all I want to say. And then you think from a place of joy. Right? If you don't believe in joy, nobody will do it. Give it for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, and Dominic, thank you for work. Thank you.
I'll drink tea.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Tim, and I'll say what I did when it happened, but I'd like for you to tell me the cool thing to do, and of course, if it happens to anyone else, with their volunteering capacity, and to tell all of us the best you do. So I'm not going to name it. I never do. So like I said to you before, one of those farmers, we have farmers like that. They would never collaborate. Like we had them moments. They will never hold it because they're happy to be the environment. Never. But I don't. I don't believe. What's your name down? What's your name? Yusuf. So Yusuf. Truth is, if you walk up to me today, would you give me a t-shirt, a photo, right? And whatever it is, you don't have that. But I don't expect you to have to learn that. So this particular person I have collaborated for, I think, 3 or 4 minutes. You have to learn it. I noticed something. I didn't notice it right. Or I did and ignored it. This person has it because I think this person because I can't see he or she. pretty well. The focus is strictly education, younger children. This person has a core team that gets paid. I have known for the last 3 years. I do so much more. What I get, what I never thought. Not that I don't get paid. I don't even, there's something like, okay, we know you spend money, get about 80 money, okay, you get that. Nothing. But I say absolutely nothing, absolutely. It's funding millions. So here's how I handled it. I just say nothing about it. And when I handle situations, there have been situations in some communities that we have gone to that I'm pretty well versed in what Bible calls abusing and power. So on the streets of New York, the situation came out exactly what to do. It was a DT, for instance, which you type about the floor. This I can find. Like you would not be able to tell the difference. I put that bridge now while I'm well trained. Stage 3. So it was a situation that involved bugs and all the crowd. Look, the bugs are so stiff. All the men did it. See, they froze. They didn't know what they did. So, oh, absolutely. She looks always still continues. She don't know what it is. I think she doesn't keep me out of the group, the general group. So I asked, I didn't get up this. When there is something that requires showing that the big sponsors and stuff, reaches me, DMs me, and lets me go ahead. I keep saying I can't. Used to just say this, and then even if I have passion, and now I do it. Just look at it. Yeah. So I'm a good deal. Thank you for telling me what I had. I do. Good. That's why I love what I do is make the time. I know what he said when he says, but when you stop for this, don't stand the door shut. They did very did wrong. Also don't like me. You said that as well, that I'm volunteering for a reason. You know, you need to walk your walk. So I handle it by just looking at it, understanding, like I don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. Others get taken care of. Nothing. Why say nothing? So that's how I handled it. I don't know if you maybe tell me I did good, I did it, but I've done better and so what's the best? And why again are they doing what? She's not doing what we that. You're there doing that.
Is there anyone who wants I also want to explain the question. To begin with, read the right thing. And I'll show it to you. It is to be kind of deliberation of quality first too. I know that I really want it. I don't know. I'm thinking I do. I like my book. They not just all changes. All will be good. The projects and very expensive project about the 5,000 people that are 90 doing trading ways. Across lecturer, across the years. So when I get the regular, yeah, that was the media. You know, see, checking time that I had my start.
because I have to one of the media and my professor, I just do. I use my laptop and sacrificing my laptop for the good presentation, but I think I have this time. I want to listen about it. What's the next thing? I want to take it from you. Now, this man came from the Netherlands. He's a professor from the university. He came, he did his lectures, and I went to my laptop to get my screen. In everything I do, I use my brand, my not I use my brand. Like out here. So you saw my logo showing on the screen. So that's a great time that straight lastly. I approached my student for lectures and I oh what do you have when I said young people they can catch up over data fine. Because they got the conversation said what you're doing great. You know, but I'm going to check my details online. That's what we're great. So when online check this out, we get right on LinkedIn, send me invest on LinkedIn. Now I'm going to profile is very less about try to convince me to check my concern for organization into the business. And what you like publish the business, the profile, young people that will help that you're not part-time, part-time. You well know your work. That's the thing I say you. Even if I'm not getting I can't make it like that. But I was going after the project, that kind of flights, it came to me while I was doing my video like this. Actually, begin action. Get out of the Give me 200 views. That was the first time in my life. I was telling you, I love it. So then cash. I started with then my brother getting with me. That program now of the program because of my test for knowledge converted me from a volunteer to a participant. It gave me a certificate. It's part of the rest of the corporation. To give that leverage. I didn't know. I have a picture of it for to show you how the car was. I provided $1 was not and that time, I don't think I like how like something what I was from. I have notes. I have notes. I'm telling you. As we go to even your culture, I took leadership roles. I moved from being a volunteer to be country director. Tell you the level of work I'm doing. What really helped me was not because like the money will come, but that little connection, that one man, I can tell you they are going to support their people. And that's the way the connect comes. That's what I'm happy with that name. Connect and love them. So when people get funding and they overuse volunteers, it is bad. And you have a staff, not someone on your payroll, someone that you are paying salary. But what I've come to realize from my little experience is that people can afford volunteer. These volunteers have, or they have this special energy. And before you know it, these big volunteers are people from that pay that wants to have their own organization. But they don't want to see. And they don't want other people to see. There are people that are just volunteer volunteers. There are people that people understand and they don't want to continue. and you begin to search everybody, and one or the other, but I'll see something that pain that you don't like, I start with it. I will not do it. People are not doing it right, they know it. But we can do it. And it all starts from our little program. What's this scenario? I have because I question. Praise people in front of them, make them happy. Yeah, I don't have really. Because I said I don't play the videos and I slap the commitment I have because it's self-funded. I'm not organized. I've never had. So everyone I make is slap. I don't have money for it's not like that. It's bad. All my my stakeholders, they are falsified IP and recruited companies. So the agile people, they all of them, they are starting to I ensure. And beyond that, what can I have today? Do you understand? That's what I'm see what part of that team. But I'm carrying on that training. Let's just like you know about 4 speakers. So people are not doing it right. For people that are doing it, let's maintain that standard. Let's maintain that procedures. We don't cheat. We don't overuse people. And how do you know what you cannot do yourself? Don't keep to that. When you cannot handle, don't keep to that. Share it and use it. For most people, you know, it doesn't make sense to me that I'm making money from the project of somebody's sweat. I'm not appreciating them. It is so fair. So fair. So please, let's not be so right. So fantastic. We need to also incorporate that. When we try doing let's appreciate it. I think I have one invitation there. Give me that now. If I can meet with the public. I don't get it done. I think when I get it done, I get one. I say, so I'll bring it with you. I said, what is this? I don't know how to lie. I'll give you that. So what did you guys miss? You know, what I write to you, I will do this, I will capture, I will do this. So when I'm not using I need to get over. When I was combining, and I was glad I didn't know what they had for. So let's continue. And everybody, those who are online can volunteer and tell that for workers that please understand the job description. Understand the people. Because one of the rights from understanding our key performance. So when you volunteer, ask, what are my responsibilities? On what basis am I being assessed? You know, okay, if you want to do media or video, for example, how many video am I using in months? Where I'm going with it and fine. How many content I'm so quantify it. You know the time we are spending on things that no about 1%. But if you're enjoying it, fine. But everybody can not be right. But we feel that we are right and correct that issue or overusing it and making moderation. So we do it and keep it on the personal time. I know the original people like you and you yourself and also replicate, and that's why you connect it.
So I think we'll be taking now the last comments. Taking. And then if those online have any questions, please drop it in the comment section or raise your hand to speak. So once our virtual participants don't speaking and we didn't get any question or raised from you, we are going to, that will be our last comment.
So I was not hearing the injunctions. So I stopped the kind of advocating that I suffer some social anxiety and restraint and social anxiety. So I want to just talk about my volunteering experience from like how volunteering has really helped my mental health. So I started volunteering during my it was not really like I was not actively volunteering there. So it was joining this group for school. I think we haven't met from then. I
so I so this like look for community projects and meetings. So it's surprising that I'm not really shaking now because I was more like I cannot even do it. Actually, I sat down. I was here during the introduction. I sat down because I didn't really know what to say. So I just like had to. I felt that I should say this out that volunteering is like in therapy. So most people don't even know that they're actually volunteering. I mean, we have this as a member of the community and other society. They have this corporate form of organization where they go for hospital station. They go to events. So that during one of the talks with the Korean father, he said that most people like you can cure depression through volunteering. People go to hospital when they see a situation or how other victims, let's say patients in the hospital, like when they see the situation or how they are in the hospital, they have this kind of critique of life. So during yesterday's, I was attending today's session when they asked a question if like people used to say volunteering is a cure for loneliness, and actually for me, I was displeased. I was not pleased with the response. One of the panelists said like the responsibility to that question. It really, they really secure with me. So because for me, and I know there are some other people that this volunteering might have really helped them come out of their shell to their shell, and then for me also, I was not actually volunteering. That's really my undergraduate days. I was volunteering to have this idea of maybe just go out because I don't like going out. I just prefer sitting in my room and then attend lecture. I don't party. I just but when I was as a recruiter, we go for community service and other even sitting with orphanage and stuff like that. I started bringing myself like going out. Well, I didn't do it for volunteering. I just said as just like my duty there as a human being. So coming up, I noticed that I was beginning to speak up, give one or two ideas. I might even have like ideas in my head, and I was like, maybe this person not agree to it. So I'll just give it to myself. But like since I've been volunteering, I noticed that as I'm speaking up, like giving my ideas and suggestions, more ideas also coming in, and I'm able to like fit in. And aside from the ideas and the suggestions, I feel volunteering also helps me in my, let's say, my CV, because most time I don't volunteer for the money. Most people like since people have been saying money, but for me, most time I just like go to my CV. I volunteer for this event. I volunteer for this conference, and then they are seeing it. There's already on my CV. I don't care if they are giving me certificates. My picture. That's like in most of seminars I've attended. They said have a picture of things. Post on your LinkedIn, post on your Facebook, post on your Instagram. So I've been following this procedure and have been helping because I noticed that most programs they ask for your social media page to go through to check if media actually doing this thing that it's written on your CV. So most like the certificate and the money, that's the reward will come later. So it's not really focusing on, and I feel the reward data is actually what we should focus on. So that is what I just explained.
Let's be more practical to something. Please don't, some people keep coming up. And you don't answer everything. And you say, well, I'm saying it's not even perspective. How do you success? You say it's perspective. There is something, I don't think still put it like this. It's easier for you to carry Bible and teach others and say kids. And then exclusive, you can put it that way. If you know the experience. See, whatever you experience is what you're doing. Whatever you see is what you're doing. So, for the part of visibility, I don't just remember the texts. It's very, very important. Please bring on your phones. Everybody wants to put it online with you. Your phone. Take your phone. All right. Maybe open your browser. The browser you use. Please swap your phone. Open your browser. Open your browser. Maybe your phone browser, anyone, Google, any browser like this. Please stop the phone. Let's do it. All right. Is there anybody that is also using that GPT or Gemini? Please come. All right. I want us to do that. It's one thing to be doing something. It's one thing to be certain. And one thing to be. Yes. Many of them, I said, are doing stuff, but you want to find them because sometimes searching to find them. And there's a quote that I love so much that says, it's better for you to pay for opportunity and not get it than get an opportunity of it. Everything you're doing, you're just preparing. I've seen people who are saying, so many, really, all this financial, you don't do anything. Also, they say, but actually, you can't use no cards. I don't know. I don't use anyone. At least the first time I know, I see about 12 pictures. Yes, on stage, I was facing one. And I was telling what do I need to do? Okay. I used to learn to Peter the experience that best fits that. Yes. I'm not going to do that to scream and scream and scream. You know? So you ask yourself what is it? It's not for teams. It's just without people. It's also guided out. So I'm just have your phone. Please put me your phone on the ground. So it's really please have you put your name there? What do you see? Then you look at it. What do you find there? Yeah, the first thing that should be your picture should drop down. If your picture is not dropping down, then your social media should drop down. And of course, for the social media that should drop down should be your LinkedIn. If your LinkedIn is not dropping down, then the next one should be Facebook. Yeah. Okay, now, yeah, I'm not going to just your message. I know. I can't ask you. I can't put you on no. So just off, right? See, and in there. All right, everything. I'm sure. Thank you very much. Now, there's now this era of technology that is now better. I'm using this search engine optimization to find your profile. So that's where research which like any volunteer coming to the now put this on top. I want to get at this. Let's do a practical so we can all see that the majority of the decisions in this current century are done based on online visibility and not your profile. So you just send your citation that people are doing. It's not necessary. I can tell you, friends myself, tell me, I have a program like you can say, you send the opportunity, right? You know, just send somebody and look at just say, I have an opportunity for Raman Query, based on what you do for her. So she is marketing for this building. I'll tell you, say it, go with it. I'm telling you, that's help. So you see, Mr. Speaker, I need the citation. Just go there and say, I'm reading a program, please give me a citation of this program. Write it down. So that's the practice. That will be say, I attended the program today. What's for you? What's to do? At Volunteers Connect Hub. Not for everybody. No, not for me. I want to back. So you can know how advanced technology for us. Everything. Connect Hub. I met on all of right? That's the thing.
Okay, but I'm out. Yeah, that's
Okay, so that's it. We are talking about the rest of this program. Who is it? Let's do it. It's not whatever you bring is not so. You just want to understand how technology is cleaning up. Okay, starting with them. Isn't that?
Good question. I tried to find reliable public information about someone on online for or similar student, particularly or a volunteer connects with Nigeria. But I could not verify a credible public profile for that. Here's what I found. Why there is a right account. I located a group called Volunteer for Africa, which appears to be volunteer living community services of Nigeria. I also found a social media post about describing itself as a transformational experience designed to equip volunteers and practical skills from academic.
So give me about volunteer.
Yes.
Tell me about the person. Anybody can, for example, just look at anybody wants to just let it take it back to that. Anybody. Because I want to talk one or two persons. One or two persons. I want us to be practical. Sorry, all people are this is going to be very practical with it. So we cannot put it. I can say, any AI now. So just say, okay, just say, I read maybe, okay, that is my new for you. I read what I'm learning and what I'm learning. Tell me about it. You can ask me anything now. You can say, I want to go into a relationship with this person. If we assess based on your profile and evidence of things that you have done. So if you have any form of abuse online, maybe you use words or something, to tell you that the point says is caring for the defendants of social housing and abuse. Or you're saying, I'm going to this location, it's not advising for a group. To tell you, go there, because it's like a possibility, it's advice. Because data is what is being on. Now, let me tell you how AI works. Let me tell you, this is how AI works. AI works on a primary flow called information. Information that are primarily sought by individuals. AI doesn't pay for itself. Only thing on information I can gather. And something like maybe from what you just should express. And so you have that scenario. Keep your spirit to principles. Based on the information that gather. People need not to be dependent on data. That's why I think you can make it. It's really on people's information. You understand? But you yourself, as an individual, you need to produce your own raw information that it can be done. So have you done it? What is it?
It's for hand.
Okay.
Put that out picture.
Yes.
They told me what she did.
All right. So can I something to anybody? Just I love practical. He says, good question. I found some public information about perpetual that seem to match this person with Rex. Here's what I'm pushing. As a program manager, SPDB, virtual data development, she was able to organization with partners for justice, lab interest in everything. I want to know where you school, I will get it. I can get a result from kids. Yes, the point is that everything. And you volunteer, once you have it online, that's the power of the Just like truthful. You can express yourself and say, okay, and based on what you know about me, I want to apply common perspective on United Nations something. Right? Oh yes, yes. I want to volunteer for United Nations. Based on what I've been doing, what program fits particularly for United Nations? To tell you which office can I write to volunteer? If you tell like and how you can also do it to help yourself is Google that you have on your phone. It's not just for search engine. Click on your Google account, manage account, Google that is based on Google on your account that tells you. Tell me about yourself. That's why I say should fuck you. Yeah, it's not no, I get like if see when you search, it can get confused. All right, these are the problems. That makes sense. But please go on your Google, your Google, do manage account, click on your profile. There's a bio there for you, and you tell you about you. Your pictures, things that you do. So everything when you search, it will automatically bring you out. So that's one of the places you sell yourself. Online communication. Never do not do myself. Who will not ask that advantage? Look for the business of going put it there. All right, so the online question for you first. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have one question from the online response. Children Lope, he said that he would like to ask how do they draw up or determine their SWOT analysis as a volunteer?
All right, thank you very much. So to the way you can hear me, how do you join your SWOT analysis? Yeah, fine. The thing is, the S basically, you draw a table, you can do like a table like four page, I mean, divide your sheet into two. SWOT X, W to your right, O to the base of your S, and the base of the logo. Now, what are your strengths? What do you do conveniently? What when you're tired, and when you think you see it, get energized. All right, what is it? What is that area of strength that you have? It can be ideation, it can be strategy development of management, it can be working with people delegation. This can be your strength. Looking at it, the strength that you have will definitely position you for opportunity. Which means, for example, if you are doing ideation and strategy management, it will tell you that you can work in the management space because you are strategic. Management and operations. So operations management, programs management will be your strength, will be your opportunity for your strength because you can ideate and you can manage. But what is your weakness? Maybe your weakness could be maybe you're a solo worker, you don't like working with people, like to work with isolation. That can cause people a strength of lesser organizational management. It can also affect you when it comes to symposium with people, interacting with people. And every of the weakness that you observe from yourself, like communication, like the leadership, like whatever piece of weakness that you know, internal weakness, external working with people, talking, communicating outside, whatever weakness that you discover about yourself, we push you for a threat. The threat is a disadvantage. So you can't tell me like you have a strength in communication and you have a weakness in maybe team management and team workforce or field there, and you are up working in the operational space, and you can call it to come and address it before them. That weakness of facing crowds will definitely push you into self-esteem. So every of the weakness for the client, that's why I gave you the default to the time. What do you want to work on? What are your weaknesses that you find and you want to work on? How can you be better? What can you do to be better? Taking courses, reading, attending programs. And the next one is, who are you accountable to? Accountability, is it somebody that's good more than you? Is it online mentor, coach, whatever it is? And the fourth one is timeline. In what duration do you want to do that? If you're able to do this, just convert your weakness into opportunity, and before you know it, it becomes a strength for you. So it's not just by words in action. So you take time, you reflect over it, you do it, you assess, and you evaluate it. So you become better by doing that.
Thank you so much, Larry, for that response, and then for addressing all the questions, comments, that have been made here today. Thank you so much. I would like to appreciate all our participants, especially here, and our online participants as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything. But we will not be ending today's section without hearing from the convener of this program, who is Muhammad Ifere. She'll be coming here to say one or two things, and then tell us more information about how we're going to get our certificate, and then every other information that we need. Thank you so much for having me moderate the section. Volunteers for next time.
Okay. Thank you so much to our speakers today for availing their time and joining us on day 2 of the Volunteers BOOTCAMP. And of course, thank you to our participants also that have joined us since yesterday. I'm glad that, from the feedback that we've got and testimonials, a lot of us have gained some insights, knowledge, and skills, and mostly, or in fact, most importantly, connections, right, from this BOOTCAMP. And I'm looking forward to celebrating as we continue in our volunteering journey. Like I said, 2026 year of volunteering, International Year of Volunteering, it means that there will be a lot of opportunities to create more impact. So be on the lookout for this. Follow social media, follow pages like Volunteers for the Development Hub, follow the United Nations Volunteers, as well as other organizations that are into volunteering to get more information on how you can play your part. Then with regards to the certificates, it's going to be e-copy actually. E-copy will be issued to us via email. So if you have not yet signed in today, please sign in so that we know that you're present for today. And for those that also joined in yesterday, of course, we also note of your presence and will definitely issue certificates. I also want to thank our partners, right? Everyone that joined us. I mean, I called on to you. I'm sounding very prophetic. And you answered, right? Like I called on to you, like, that thing about volunteering, I don't have to speak too much and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is why I get to do this, this is why. Once I called any one of them, everybody just came on board because they also have experience and they have also been serving. I called on White Up Global, my friend here, Ekudayo Damilari. It's been a pleasure actually knowing Ekudayo Damilari. He's a repository, I call it a repository of knowledge and skills. Like, you always have ideas, knowledge, and you be like, where did you find all of this? Because he's always doing research. So he has a lot of information. If you can follow him, please. I don't get it. People that know me knows that I don't get it. Anybody that is my friend is your friend automatically. Unless you don't want to be friends with them, then that's you. But I don't get it. If there's anybody that you think that, oh, you have connection with them, just ask them, I'll send you their contacts. So that's if they want their contact to be shared. I'll send you their contact shared, and then you continue to keep your connection. How you do this your own business. But if to get the connection, to spread that out. My friends know that I do that easily for them, including volunteers that have volunteered for us in our volunteer service program. So thank you so much, Ekudayo. Damilari, for being here with us physically, because I know your business is very busy person, global now. And thank you for collaborating with us. That's the true White Up Global. Thank you also to American Corner for giving us this space free of charge. Thank you so much for this space and this was within one time. All we needed to do is to say this is what we are going to do, this is what we want to do, this form. We sent an email and they said yes to it. They now said, I also want to come on board. So our logo, let's be that we partner with you
So thank you to American Corner, thank you to Yali, Young African Leaders Initiative. For those that may not know, I'm actually a past coordinator of Young African Leaders Initiative during the COVID pandemic era, 2020. I'm very proud of that era. Because that era, 2020, was a very, very, I volunteered with my life, my body, and my soul. So I'm always proud to say I was the coordinator during that period because it was a very trying time. And of course, thank you to the Nigerian Volunteers Awards for also coming on board to partner with us. Thank you to Volunteers Club all the way from Abuja. Thank you so much, Volunteers Club. In fact, our very first partner, we sent an email directly to us and said, we want to be part of Volunteers Connect BOOTCAMP this year, 2025. And of course, we look forward to joining and seeing more of everyone as we continue in the following week. Thank you so much, our participants, and do have a great day. Thank you to our moderator, Ikiruka, Perpetual Para. Please follow Ikiruka. I'm sure that from now on, she'll also be posting on social media, by God's grace on social media. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you.